Chaz, live and in person. Welcome to Dynasty Diner every single Wednesday on this channel. How you doing, buddy?
Very good, Rob. Thanks for having me on for another week of Dynasty Diner. Hopefully, we got some insightful things for people watching, and hopefully, it's another great show.
Such a nice kid, Chaz. He's so soft-spoken and nice. I am bursting at the fucking seams right now. I ate so much food tonight. I am just coming out of my
You
pores.
stockpiled.
Well, my sister, my family was in town this weekend, so last weekend, and my brother-in-law made all this fucking smoked pork, and like he's like, I got some food for you. This is 2 days later. Brings me like 3 pounds of it, dude. So and like I don't like wasting food, and it's delicious. So like I'm just like trying to like eat this. Then we go out, and like Erica's friend gets 2 appetizers, and of course I'm gonna eat. I'm not gonna waste them, and then I get a giant burger. So like I already had all the pork, like a giant burger. Cheese curds, which just are explode in your fucking belly. So I've already taken one giant shit. I might have to take a little 5-minute break. I'm kidding. I'll bathroom it. I'll South Park it up here. I'll hold it.
You'll be a trooper. You'll be a tough trooper.
I am a trooper. Today. All right, we got a great show for you guys. We're gonna talk about some the free agents left. There's a couple notable free agents that could impact fantasy. We're also going to talk about 5 players we're selling. We are selling before the draft. The way I kind of put it to you, Chaz, is these are players that their value could fall after the draft. We expect it to fall after the draft based on bringing in new competition. It's a running back, and they draft a running back in the 2nd round, for instance, and that's going to hurt this said running back, or maybe a quarterback that doesn't get any weapons, or a quarterback that just sucks. A tight end that someone drafts Sadiq. Let's just say it's Mark Andrews. They take Sadiq. That's really going to kill Mark Andrews' values. Is that kind of how you went about this exercise?
Yeah, a little bit. I also went for, as well as just how did off-season moves impact it. So obviously I have a couple that I think, or at least my very first one's going to be draft impacted. A couple other ones may or may not be, depending on how you look at it.
And I feel like the dynasty ranks don't adjust as fast as you would think. You know what I mean? Like some of these guys, it's not like where I think it would be. And I don't know if it's because, the startup drafts haven't happened yet, but like I would expect them to just be instantaneous, like at least like adjust a little bit based on a free agent going there or something like that. But that's not the case. So there's a lot of value to be had for trades if you can fleece some of your moron league mates. We all have those idiots in our league, Chaz. We're not one of those idiot league mates, though.
Definitely not. I've come a long way from, back in whatever it was, 2017, 2018, when I accepted a trade for a hurt Deshaun Watson and D-Hop. D-Hop wasn't hurt, but Deshaun Watson was. I've come a long way from being a fantasy rookie to where I'm at now, I'd say.
A lot of conversations we had at work, too. Probably went into that as well because we would just have these hour-long discussions about the deepest players ever. Yeah, and I don't even play that. This is my first year actually playing Dynasty, but I mean, I know how it works, and I understand values of players. But I do so many redrafts that Dynasty is always on the back burner for me because it does take a lot of energy and effort. And when you play 35 leagues, like I don't really want time for Dynasty, but I wanted to do the Dynasty league for the channel here. Which, by the way, if you're in this chat, if you're in the Dynasty League, there is stuff going up every single day to vote on. Only getting 9 votes or 10 votes. There's 12 teams in the league, so you're missing out on an opportunity to have your voice heard and vote on some of these rules. I think we settled on it's pretty deep. It's 3 receivers, 2 running backs, and 2 flexes. It's a deep league, 12-team league.
Yep. That was the one Ray and I agreed on. I know we were texting a little bit there. We also saw. I'm very surprised. There was a very, very big rule change that happened, and going from this was going to be a super flex to now it's not. That's a very very big rule change. But hey, you got to learn to adapt sometimes.
12-team super flexes, I'm just not a fan of because it especially when you have a startup draft or even a redraft, like the advantage of having a top 5 pick is huge. And sometimes you get in the back end, you're forced to take a quarterback. Like I like 10-team super flex is my thing. That's fair for everyone because you can the strategy of like punting quarterback actually works in a 10-team. It never works in a 12-team because the league could just blackball you and you have teams taking their 3rd quarterback before you get your 1st one or before you get your 2nd one, and now you're stuck with literally starting Geno Smith and having Geno Smith, and we don't like that.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, we have, I don't know if you're also taking into account a third round reversal, because that's usually in all my leagues that have been 12 team super flex. We always do a third round reversal to try and offset that balance of those top teams getting, uh, as a major upgrade as they would. But I feel like it was more so in the past where, some of those top teams are getting more advantageous, where, you had a young Patrick Mahomes, young Josh Allen compared to now, I would feel. But it's just another talking point about, who's better, who's not.
I wonder when Superflex is going to become the standard way to play fantasy, because if the 2027 draft quarterback class is actually what we think it is, we're going to end up having, right now we already have, you look at Baker Mayfield being quarterback 17 right now. It's so deep, and in a 12 team redraft, there is no reason, if I don't get a top end, dual threat quarterback, one of the top 5 guys, there is no reason to spend a 6th round pick on quarterback 6 or 7. I'm just going to wait and take Bo Nix, or take literally Matt Stafford is quarterback 12. I'm just going to wait. And if you don't get that guy, you can literally wait till the last round and then just take Baker Mayfield. So the point is, if we get 4 or 5 new awesome quarterbacks for fantasy and real life, they're going to have, it's going to go 20 deep, legit 20 deep, where it's not like Bryce Young where there's question marks. And Superflex should become the standard way to play fantasy, because it is more, it's more strategic based. You can't just do what I said about just punting the position, which is always a nice advantage. That's how I win a lot of money, because I see teams spending that 6th round draft capital on quarterback 8, and quarterback 8 to quarterback 12 is no difference. Honestly, it's 1 point a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, all the leagues I play in are super flex. Now, I would like to introduce a poll in our Dynasty League, just to see if people do want to go to super flex, and then we could do a third round reversal, or maybe vote on something like that. But I mean, if that doesn't obviously pass, or there is or if there is even isn't a vote, whatever, it'd be my first league in a while where it's not super flex.
You're not the commissioner, dude. Chill out on these rules. Let me do my thing, Chaz.
I brought a little bottle of spermicidal lube, too.
And 1 little bottle of spermicidal lube?
Yeah, 1 little bottle of spermicidal lube.
Evan, that's psycho shit, man.
It's not.
It's like Charles Manson shit. What do you think, Becca's gonna be psyched that you brought a bottle of lube? Oh, Evan, thank you for bringing that lube for my pussy. I never would have been able to handle your fucking 4-inch dick inside my pussy without that gigantic bottle of lube.
So you do have one awesome. I mean, I'm sure both your Dynasty teams are awesome. You're in 2, right? 2 Dynasty leagues?
Yeah, I'm in 2.
You sent me your first one, your better one. And I want to go through this team with the Chaz, and also tell them about the trades you made. Boy. And you kind of fucked up a couple years ago. But so here's the squad right here. Is this is the bench, right?
Yeah, yep. That's the bench. That's the
so this is a 12-team league. 12-team full PPR, Chaz?
It's a tiered PPR. So running backs get a half-point PPR, wide receivers get a full point PPR, and then tight ends get a 1.5 PPR. And then for quarterbacks, it's a 6-point passing as well.
Yeah. So go through your team here. I'll also give a little backstory on some of the bad trades you made and how you kind of saved this team.
Yeah, so just starting at the quarterback position, obviously you guys see that I have Kyler and Stafford. 2 years ago, that was Josh Allen and technically Drake May. I sold Josh Allen for Justin Fields at the time. I was a huge Justin Fields homer. I got Justin Fields in 3 firsts on top of it, or 2 firsts on top of it, and then a bunch of seconds as well. But that was one of the bad trades that I made that I hate looking back on. And then I also traded right after Drake May got drafted. I drafted him at the 105 in my rookie draft, and I traded him for Kyler Murray, because I thought, Kyler is just going to be more elite for my win now type team. Obviously, both those trades did not help me at all. But if sometimes you make bad trades, you got to make good trades in return. So going into last year, I traded for CMC and George Pickens. Both of those guys ended up exploding, which is huge. I was able to also trade for Matthew Stafford mid-season from another contender, which I don't know why he made that trade with me. But so then
what
he
did you
also
trade?
helped me.
What did you trade for Stafford?
I traded a second round pick for a fourth round pick in Matthew Stafford. So I basically just tiered down to 2 rounds in the rookie draft, and I got Matthew Stafford, which in this league is amazing.
So you railed his mom and you made him watch is what happened with a second round, even a second round, dude. A first rounder is maybe fair. He's a contending team. What's he doing?
Yeah, I mean, especially because it was going to be late no matter what. I was already in first place at that point, and then he did that trade with me. I also did another one where I traded away Jahmyr Gibbs, and I got Drake London, and I got Breece Hall. That was more so because I needed depth at the time. I did that before last year as well. Obviously, Drake London is in there. I just felt like I needed more alpha wide receivers. That's why I went and I got Drake London, which was great. Breece Hall isn't cracking the lineup just because my lineup kind of got really deep with some of this offseason stuff with DJ Moore going to the Bills.
Yeah,
I'm obviously going to be starting him over. Like my entire team kind of took a jump with this offseason stuff, honestly.
Trading for George Pickens before the Cowboys move and before the breakout is just free money. And then the DJ Moore trade is not going to be quite the same. I know you're higher on DJ Moore this year than most. Like, that's money in the bank, bro. Like, you're getting now a number one receiver tied to Josh Allen. He's not a number one in fantasy, but he's going to be a wide receiver too. When you probably he was valued at wide receiver 3. Yeah. Let's take a gander at your bench, which you mentioned that you have Breece Hall just marinating on there, who's a guy that could jump up based on a move, or if they resign him, or if they trade like Braylon Allen or something. So you have Breece Hall just sitting there on the bench. The quarterbacks are pretty rough.
Yep. That's why I got a bunch of them
there. But David Montgomery's on your bench, who is now a go zone right now with Houston being the starter. Breece Hall, Romeo Doubs is now pretty valuable. Wan'Dale Robinson's number 1 now.
Yeah.
Damn. And Isaiah Likely is a stud. I mean,
all of my guys, as I was saying, it felt like they kind of took a jump in value with where they landed this offseason, and I'm loving it. And then next year, I also have what I'm looking forward to where Mayer goes in the offseason. I think he's still a sneaky stash at tight end, especially because it's a 1.5 PPR for tight ends. I think if he goes to somewhere that's going to give him targets, we saw it at the end of last year with when Bowers was out, they were kind of feeding him. It could be nice if he goes somewhere where obviously he's not stuck behind a generational talent.
Literally every one of your bench players, their value stayed the same or it got better. So Tua, if he starts in Atlanta, we like that better than Miami. Breece Hall is probably neutral, but Romeo Doubs better. Wan'Dale Robinson definitely better. Isaiah Likely way better now that he's the number 1. I mean, Theo Johnson's still out there, but it's not a Mark Andrews situation where he's just pillaging 7 touchdowns a year from him.
Yeah,
a bag of money. You know what I'm saying? I can follow the money.
Yeah, follow the money, and that's exactly what I could not have picked it any better with a lot of where my guys went. So they got paid a lot. Then now they're going to be their top options in good offenses.
If you don't win this year, you have a 2-year window. I'd say 1 or 2 year, like this year especially. If you don't win this year, it's going to be some rough going there going forward. But like, I'll be shocked if you don't win or at least go to the championship game. 12-team league.
Yeah, I was planning in a 3-year stretch. Last year, obviously, I was at first. I had a bye week after the Thursday night game and the Saturday night game because I started DJ Moore and I started Matthew Stafford. I was up like 62-0, and it almost felt like I was guaranteed a win into the championship. And then of course, my opponent just had everyone kind of get lucky, and I kind of got bounced in that semifinal. But yeah, I'm hoping these next 2 years are go, and that would be seen with the draft picks. I don't have any draft picks coming up this year, but I don't think that really matters concerning my depth and concerning my starters that I have. I'm trying to make a title push, and that's what it's all about sometimes.
All right, you ready to get to this list? I'm gonna hit you guys with the intro and get back with our 5 players to sell high on after this. Jay, I would say that 7 to 8 of the first 12 picks in a 12-team league, 7 to 8 quarterbacks go in the first round. It usually is 5 straight quarterbacks to start.
Yeah, it's. I mean, honestly, with what I've seen in, especially in the 6-point league, 6-point
Yeah.
passing, I would say 8 or 9 out of your first 10 picks are going to be quarterbacks.
Right. Six changes a bit, but even in 4, like it's not about the scoring. It's about the fact that in a 12-team league, 24 quarterbacks are started every week. I mean, you could start, a running back or receiver, but that's disadvantage. Like, don't go down that road.
Yep.
So it's going to be 80% quarterbacks taken in the first round. And then the second round is generally your high ends, your Justin Jeffersons and guys like that going, Bijan Robinson, those guys go in the second round. And the third round, you get the second wave of quarterbacks. You get your Dak Prescotts, your Justin Herberts. But by the end of the second round, there's usually at least like 13 or 14 quarterbacks off the board. So that's why it's one of those things where it's an arms race. So if you fall behind and the league goes quarterback crazy, yeah, you might have a start with like Bijan Robinson and CeeDee Lamb, but now you're looking at, Baker Mayfield's your quarterback 1, which, I'm fine with that if the position players you draft are elite, but in Dynasty especially, man, like if you don't have the quarterback backbone, those 50 points every week from the 2 guys, like you're just playing catch up every single week. What's so funny?
I just absolutely blew it apart. It was kind of
Jesus!
I don't know if anyone else heard that one.
Yeah, Jay. So yeah, the quarterbacks go very, very. They're hot and heavy, just like Chaz's asshole right now. All right, we are gonna get to our list, Chaz. Do you want to start it off with the sell high players in Dynasty before draft? This is before the draft, or even right now, but sell them now.
Yeah, I mean, this player's kind of already taken a hit, but I would not be surprised if they drafted someone in the 4th round or later. I'm going to go sell high on Devon Achane, just because it's a contract year. Think about it, and they're going to have to start paying another running back, which possibly could be him after this year, right? So, unless I missed something, he should be going into a.
He is in a contract year. He is running back 4 right now in Dynasty, and this is full PPR. And I also, there's rumblings of him sitting out OTAs and not showing up to training camp, and he's gonna show up. He needs to show up, but there's this year, I don't think he's gonna give you the value you want just based on that offense being trash. And then down the road, if he resigns there, is that a good thing? I mean, they got nothing there, so it might be a 2 or 3 year project.
And then like I said, I mean, he could be going somewhere else. How beneficial? Obviously, I feel like anywhere he goes is going to be beneficial towards him. But if he ends up signing and staying, how much of a help is that? So you have contract issues, and then if he stays, I think it's honestly a negative towards him. If he goes somewhere that's not as great, or that's just willing to pay him, that could also lower his thing. Is more so the RB4 values where I think is too high in my book compared to some of the other running backs that are like below him.
What do you think that Achane could fetch in a trade in real life? What do you think a team would willing to give up for Achane? Is it a 2nd round pick? Because I think they would never take a 3rd round pick. That's just not enough for like their only offensive player right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm kind of basing it off of what the Chiefs wanted for, or what the Jets wanted for Breece Hall. I would say it has to be a 2nd, considering what Breece Hall has given the Jets compared to what Achane has been able to show to the league that he can do on a consistent basis. So I would say at the very least a 2nd, maybe a little bit more on top, like a 2nd and like a 6th or something, which is still a lot. Yeah,
Achane, man, it's the PPR. Now, if it wasn't for Malik Willis, the PPR scam would be unreal with him. Like, he's going to have 100 catches easy.
Yeah.
But now you add Malik Willis into the mix, and the efficiency should go up because now you have RPOs and the dual threat stuff that you couldn't really run with Tua. But is he really going to be checking the ball down a lot? Because he's going to just pull the ball down and run. He's going to be running for his life this year. He is going to be thrown to the fucking wolves.
Yep.
And, I don't think they're going to take they have 2 1st round picks. They have the 30th, and I think it's the 11th pick. So, they're not taking a wide receiver at 11. I really don't think so. They have too many holes and they don't have a good enough quarterback. So it's like they might take a guy at 30, but that's Casey Concepcion, that's Denzel Boston, that's one of those guys who I definitely like Concepcion a lot, but it's not a number one. It profiles as a guy that could be a number one down the road, but like if you're going into the year with a rookie, wide receiver 5 in his class, and by all accounts a pretty weak wide receiver class, it's gross. And like that maybe they take Sadiq at 11. That's not great either. He's a project.
Yeah,
yep. What a mess there in Miami. It's gross, man. How many wins do they have? You think they have 2.5? I'll set it at 3.5. Over under 3.5 wins for the Dolphins.
I'll go over. I think they scratch 4 wins.
So what if I set it at 4.5? You're gonna go under?
I would go under.
Because I think the Vegas has it set at 4.5.
If it's 4.5, I'd go under. I don't see that team winning 5 out of 17. As much as it's bad to say something like that, but I just really don't see it.
They're in a unique position because like they want to lose games, right? Like they want this quarterback class is too good, and there is 3 or 4 like consensus like could be quarterback 1 in this draft, for instance. But they have Malik Willis, who they want to kind of tutor and just have him play well. So it's like almost a Justin Fields year when like we lost all those games, but Fields actually showed out. And it's still very valuable to have that a top 3 pick because then they can just trade down, right? If Malik Willis is the guy, now you're looking at, I have the 2nd pick. Okay, I'll trade you. I'll go from 2 to 7, and I want next year's 1st and next year's 3rd. Now you have the 7th pick, and you have the 2028 draft. Like that's what they need, and then they have their possible quarterback of the future, which I don't know. I'm not that sold on Malik Willis. Are you sold that? Like, what are the chances that he's a franchise quarterback, like one of these guys where it's like, okay, we have our guy?
I'm like a 4 out of 10 on how much I'm sold on him. I mean, we've seen 6 quarters of play. I mean, we need to see more than just that. I know the film that he put out there in those 6 quarters is amazing, but I think if over a 6-game stretch or an 8-game stretch, like what can he show and what can he put on tape? Is that going to be consistent? Is that not going to be consistent? Is that also with 4 schemes? What is that offense also going to look like going into next year, or obviously going into this year? With it's very different compared to from the Green Bay Packers to the Dolphins. So we'll see. But I'm not too sold on him.
Jake says Rob looks lit tonight. I'm a little lit up, but you can never tell with the performance on the show. You know what I mean? It's like some guys get whiskey dick, bro. I could just power through. If I'm feeling a little fucked up, guess what? I'm the best in the business. We all know that. Come on now. That's fine. Talk. I do I produce it. I talk to Chaz. I get a nice soft voice.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That is a great idea.
Those are the only kind I have.
I can hear my hair growing. You want some soup?
Those are the only kind I have. All right, my number 1, Chaz. Cam Scatterbo. I love Cam Scatterbo, but RB22 right now, and there's a lot of factors that are going into this why I think he's a sell high. The first reason is we've heard a lot of rumblings. We heard Kenneth Walker rumors, right? We heard like free agent rumors. And I think we all forget that Cam Scatterbo was a 4th-round pick. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's a 2nd-round pick. And he played great last year. Like, but I'll tell you this, watching the film back, Cam Scatterbo, he was great for fantasy, right? It was what we want. It was a goal line carries. It was a lot of receptions. But it wasn't like elite on-field stuff. He's good. He's steady. He's fine. He could do it all. But he's not a true number 1 running back. And also, the dude's going to average, like, if I give you over under 1.5 concussions per year for his career, it's a tough bet. Like, I want to go under, but, like, is it possible he goes over this every year? Dude refuses to get down. I know he's not a quarterback, but he doesn't give a fuck. He just runs right into a motherfucker's face. Shout out Marshawn Lynch. Run through a motherfucker's face.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Scatterbo is a name I was thinking about that was going to be on my list as well. And, it just, 1, he's going to be coming back from injury. 2, the investment in him is not there. So you have a guy coming off an injury with a bad investment who
Chaz, not just injury, a major injury.
Major injury.
There was ligament damage. There was broken bones. Like, this is a gruesome injury, and he could come back from it. I'm not saying he can't, but like, he's also not the fastest guy in the world. So now when you possibly neuter his athleticism a little bit more than it already was, and it's the Jeremiah Love thing. Like, they shouldn't take Love at 5, but the Giants, believe it or not, for the win total they had last year, they have a win now roster. Like, it is actually a decent roster. Their D line is second to none. Jackson Dart showed out last year. Malik Neighbors is coming back healthy. Like, if they take Jeremiah Love, like, this is done with. Like, Cam Scatterbo at 22, like, you're looking at Cam Scatterbo at 40, right?
Yeah.
He's a handcuff.
Yep, 35 or less.
So
that's what I was thinking.
I'm already a little down on him just based on the rumblings and also the injury, like all the things. And now you have a 30% chance to take Jeremiah Love. Like, get out now at RB22 and look at the players going around him. You have Derrick Henry, Bashal Tutin, DeAndre Swift, Charbonnet, Jalen Warren, Monungai. Like, I don't want any of these guys necessarily over him, but it's not that far off, right? David Montgomery at 29. I want David Montgomery over him this year. Like, this year, I want David Montgomery over. Who do you want, Scatterbo or David Montgomery?
This year, give me Montgomery. It looks like that they're going to be running the ball out of there in Houston.
And I think there's a chance that he's rated 22. I think you have a couple guys in your league that might view him as a value. You know what I mean? Because of the production last year. And he's a fun player. People like Cam Scatterbo. Like, he's taking his shirt off in interviews. Like, people love this guy. He's the great white hope. I mean, also find a racist in your league. Find a racist in your league and be like, hey, I got the best white running back since Christian McCaffrey.
According to retailers, the most popular Halloween mask this year is O.J. Simpson. And the most popular Halloween greeting is, I'll kill you and that guy who's bringing over your glasses, or a trait.
Now, if it was Cam Scatterbo that was returning the glasses to his wife instead of Ron Goldman, Cam Scatterbo would 100%. He would not have died to OJ. You can't kill Cam Scatterbo. He'd been like, "Oh, that's a knife. Cool. I'm fine. I'm gonna run into you with my head." That's what he's gonna do.
He would do a lot. He would do a lot more damage in 100%. Other ways.
All right, I'm glad you're on board with that one because it seems like blasphemous because RB22, but like there's just so many factors, like so many negative things, and the only positive is, like we mentioned, it's elite fantasy skill set. It really is, but it's also on the Giants too. I mean. Harbaugh, we literally saw him last year. The last point on this one, we saw Harbaugh take Derrick Henry off the field a bunch for bums. And Tyron Tracy is not a bum. Now, Tyron Tracy was a 5th-round draft pick the year prior. He's not an old guy. He doesn't have that much worse draft capital. And would it be surprising to you, coming off the injury, if it was a 55-45 or a 60-40 split with Tyron Tracy?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Tyron Tracy was. I mean, back when, he was first drafted and stuff as a rookie, he was really good watching him out there on the field. And so this is, I mean, as you said, a low investment coming off an injury. I would not be surprised if they, go a 50-50 split or 55-45 split.
And how many touchdowns did Jackson Dart going to pillage at the goal line? Like, there's just another thing to throw in there. Jackson Dart's looks like a perennial 7 or 8 rushing touchdown a year guy with 5 of those coming on quarterback draws inside the 5-yard line. Like, those are all just things to just throw out there in the ether and take it at face value. Well, who's your second guy, Chaz?
Yeah, I don't know how much he'll be impacted by the draft. I mean, it could be dependent on, where this team goes. But I think it's Nico Collins. I mean, I think it's just a time to get out on him. He's what, wide receiver in the 11 to 13 range?
Wide receiver 9.
That was even higher than what I had him at. So I have him at wide receiver 13, the ranking I'm looking at. I think that's even a little bit high. So wide receiver 9 is clearly way too high in my opinion, especially with the Demon signing and just looking at CJ Stroud's performance in that postseason game and the moves, they're going to be running the ball more, which is going to be taking away more targets away from him. I think they're going to try and slow the game down and just try and get points on the board, which, hinders Nico Collins' ability to get points at any moment's notice.
And he's tied to CJ Stroud. I mean, it sucks. He might come up, spoiler, he might come up later on my list, but it's also the defense. Like, the defense is so good. Like, Nico Collins is not capable of having one of these top 5 seasons unless he catches 15 touchdowns. Like, that's the only way because the volume's not going to be there. the game script is always, one score game. Usually they're winning. They're not getting in these shootouts and CJ Stroud. I like Nico Collins, but he's also a little bit older. How old is Nico Collins? Nico Collins
he's
is
like 27, 28. Yeah, he's
27 years old. Yep.
Yeah, so he's starting to hit that kind of age cliff. And this is, I think, especially wide receiver 9, a great time to get out. I mean, I just think Houston just wants to play a very slow or winding type of ball game where they run it, waste 40 seconds, run it, waste 40 seconds, run it, waste 40 seconds. Like, that's all they want to do, I think, this year, because they know their defense is that elite. So they know if they can get, 15, 20 points on the board, maybe even less, they know they're going to win that game.
I think a nice comp for Nico Collins in terms of what he'll settle into as a later, an older receiver, is Cortland Sutton, which is fine. But we just saw what the Broncos did, and Cortland Sutton's 30. But we just saw, and they have similar profiles all over the board. They're both former second-round picks, I believe. Guys that have had he's had a better career than what Sutton had, and Sutton also tore his ACL the second year. But they brought in Jalen Waddle, so when is he not going to be the only guy in town? And Higgins is solid. They like Noel there. It's a good call, man. 9 just seems like if you're going to sell him, now is the time, because this year, if he has another injury-plagued year or if CJ Stroud takes another step back, now you're looking at a guy without a quarterback, because Stroud, this is it for Stroud in terms of Houston. If he lays an egg and they miss the playoffs for once, these teams and these franchises cut coaches and fire coaches way too early or just after one bad year. CJ Stroud's had some good moments in the NFL, but he's never been a difference maker. And I put the stat up. I'll tell you about it with CJ Stroud later, is that he's had less top 5 finishes than Anthony Richardson. And Anthony Richardson started a third of the games. Yep. And that's directly tied to Nico Collins, because he's obviously not getting anything on the ground, but he's not having these 4 touchdown games. So if Nico Collins isn't catching half of CJ Stroud's touchdowns, where's 15 touchdowns at? Because CJ Stroud certainly isn't throwing 35. It's never happened. His career high is fucking 22.
It's all the signs are pointing to me that going into obviously next year, he's not going to be ranked as wide receiver 9, and that's kind of how you work in Dynasty. You got to go, okay, well, where's this guy going to be next year or in 2 years from now? And is that going up or is that going down? And that's just kind of what you got to evaluate. And I think this is a great time to get out on Nico Collins.
All right, answer a couple questions here before I get to my number 2. Jay says, what's the over-under on the Lions? They are 9.5. And then he says, what's the Bears? They're 9.5 as well. I believe that the Packers are favored to win the division. They're 10.5. And then Lions and Bears are both 9.5, but the Lions have juice on the over. So Lions are projected to be seconds. Bears are good value right now. It's plus 350 for the Bears to win the division. I kind of like that.
I like that too. I mean, we just showed that we can win the division. Obviously, we've had some setbacks this offseason, and teams are going to know what we're about now. But I said plus 350. I think that's honestly great value. I haven't seen that, but I'll definitely be looking at that towards the start of the season.
What do you think about the Bears? About the Lions, 9.5, and just the culture's there. Dan Campbell's a stud. They keep on losing pieces, specifically on the offensive line. The Ben Johnson loss was worse than what it appeared. If you look at the numbers, offensively, they were still great last year, but they took a step back efficiency-wise. And Jared Goff's protection. And also the biggest thing was they're running the ball. How many games do we see of Jahmyr Gibbs having 11 carries for fucking 22 yards? That's Jahmyr Gibbs. And these are games that they weren't blowouts. I go back to that game against the Steelers at the end of the year when they could get nothing going on the ground against pretty much an average defense. And it wasn't the only time. It happened way too often. It was schematically different without Ben Johnson, who obviously you saw what he did with the Bears run game. And then the offensive line just being toast, man. And I don't think it's going to be that much better. I think the running game has to be better this year. I'm not worried about Jahmyr Gibbs, at least for fantasy, because he scores touchdowns, he catches passes, he's explosive. But in real life, the Lions situation right now, should they be ahead of the Bears? Should they be the second favorite in the NFC North? I'm going to grab a beer.
I don't think so. I think the major thing is obviously with Ben Johnson being gone, we saw the difference in what it was last year. But I think what they really missed, and I don't know why they didn't go more towards it last year, was just getting David Montgomery, those 15 to 20 touches where, you'd see that 15, 20 carries for 75, 80 yards. And those would all be, just bruising carries, not the Jahmyr Gibbs type carries where, he's going to be running outside, he'd be going inside the tackles and stuff like that. And they kind of went away from that last year. And I'm really scared, honestly, about Drew Petzing. I know Campbell was running the offense last year towards the end of the year. I just hate wherever Petzing goes.
And Dan Campbell was fine, but like
he was fine. He was fine.
He was good against bad teams, and when he faced good defenses, he was average. Dan Campbell is not a genius mastermind. He is just a fucking bite your goddamn kneecaps off guy, culture guy, players coach. I love the culture he has there. I think Dan Campbell's a great head coach. But like he's not one of these, Mike McDaniel offensive coordinators or Kyle Shanahan. He's not even close to that. Like Ben Johnson was a giant loss. All right, I'm moving on to my number 2 here. Zach Charbonnet, RB26. Another guy coming off a major injury, and the reports have not been good coming out of the Seahawks camp there about Charbonnet. Don't quote me on this, but they said that the report was he will play this year. Like that's a very blanket statement that I don't like to hear. It's not. Yeah. Okay. What is that? Week 14, week 15, week 13. Like that's not.
When is it?
Usually you want some type of or more ringing endorsement, like we will have him back sooner rather than later, something like that. Like the Zach Charbonnet news of like he'll play this year, like so he's not going to help you this year most likely. And also they have pick 31. They just lost Kenneth Walker. They seem to like George Halane. They brought in Emmanuel Wilson. Like those are just guys. I understand that, but like would it surprise you? And a guy that's been linked to them that makes a lot of sense in terms of filling the Kenneth Walker prototype is Mike Washington Jr., who is a juiced up. This guy's awesome. He's not the most savvy player. He's not great in pass protection, but like he has a lot of juice. Home run hitter. That's the 1-for-1 replacement for Kenneth Walker. And if they do that, now you're looking at the same old thing where it's Charbonnet is the 1B to Mike, or let's say he goes to the 1A in 2027. You still have a guy with a lot of juice right behind you. And like they show that they want to use 2 running backs. Like Kenneth Walker was awesome last year down the stretch. And even before the injury, and it took the injury to Charbonnet for Kenneth Walker to really spread his wings. They were never giving either of these guys over 60% of the work, regardless. So Zach Charbonnet, RB26, like I'm out, man. Like sell him now.
I like it.
And you can get yourself a guy that can actually help you this year because Charbonnet, you can't count on him this year. Like what are you going to count on him for? Like maybe back end, maybe mid-range RB2 production when he's healthy? Maybe.
I mean, the only reason that you'd be buying is for future investment. And I think in that future investment, you're already buying at what I think could be potentially his P value. So I think it's a great time to, offload him and just go get someone else around that range or tear down a little bit and get draft capital.
100%. What's up? What's going on, Jonathan? Jonathan's in the Dynasty League with us. Shout out to Jonathan. I get some weird feeling Eagles are going to try to play under center more and run the ball. I feel like Barkley feels like he has something to prove. Going to be one I'm going to look at in redrafts if he falls. I actually have the opposite opinion. I'm going to reach on him. So I agree with you, but I'm going to reach on him. Where right now I'm going more off underdog in these best balls I've done. It's like 16, 17, 15, 18, that range, middle of the second round. Like once you get past the top 12 guys, now you're looking at the Pickens range, you're looking at Neighbors, you're looking at Derrick Henry, that range. Like, dude, I'll just take Saquon Barkley at 13. Like, just last year was awful. It was awful. The film was bad. He was bad. The offense was broken. They refused to throw him the ball for some reason. And if AJ Brown gets traded, especially, like you're looking at what I would project a 50 catch player because we've seen Barkley have 80 catches in the NFL season. That was his rookie year. So the tush push is not banned. That's one thing that leaves me a little bit worried about Barkley, but also like Jalen Hurts is going to break one of these days. Like they've already broken him down. He's not the same player because of the tush push. And also their offensive line is not the same offensive line. So Saquon Barkley is a guy like league winner. And like I was way off him last year and he was kind of a value because he was still going in that, 5, 6, 7 range, but because he wasn't going number 1 where he should have probably gone number 1 after the year he had prior. I think a lot of people were worried about the injury concern. Yeah. But he stayed healthy, and like this is a good comment from Jay. I want to get your opinion on this. Barkley before Hampton.
I would go just for this year. I would go Barkley because of what happened last year with. They didn't go against him, but I think it's like, okay, is this he wants to prove that it wasn't just a one-off thing. Offensive line is going to be more healthy this year. They should be on track to just give them a buttload of, valuable carries, targets, touches, whatever it is, in comparison to Hampton, where we also don't know, what's that offense for sure going to look like. They didn't, there's a lot of receivers there. There's obviously Herbert's there, great quarterback, also rushing quarterback, which is the same thing with Hurts, but just in a vacuum, how much they're at Barkley.
Let's think about it like this too. The Eagles very proud. As much as I hate fucking Eagles, very proud franchise. They're championship or bust every year at this point with this current roster and this regime and Howie Roseman, who's just an awesome GM. But they won the Super Bowl because they just said, "Hey, Saquon, like you're the best player in the world. Like everyone else is ancillary. Yeah, we have these weapons and these awesome receivers and Devonta Smith and you have Dallas Goedert in the middle and you have AJ Brown. But this is Saquon's team. Last year they got cute. They didn't give the ball enough to Barkley. How many of those second half drives was three straight throws, 3 and outs, 3 straight incompletions by Jalen Hurts? Like too many, you know what I mean? So they got cute.
Yep.
And is Saquon Barkley really in their future? Like I don't think he is. He's fucking old. He's got 1 or 2 years left. So like let's just go back to a guy who's a physical freak who had way less of a workload last year than the year prior, and just say let's lean on him and let's get a little more creative. I think the problem also last year wasn't just Barkley. Now he was bad last year. Like it was 40% worse than the year prior in terms of explosive runs,
really
agility,
bad.
all those kind of things. But they didn't use him creatively. It was just literally running into the line, and they didn't use him at all in the pass game. So it's like, let's just use him. Let's get him the ball in space. It's Saquon Barkley. So like, there's a lot of ways this can go right. And even if it's the same as last year, but the offense is better, it'll still be better than it was last year. And he will be a return value, or at least matches value there in the middle of the second round. So I'm all over Saquon Barkley. I was just thinking about this walking my dog 2 nights ago. I was just like, dude, Saquon Barkley just seems like too easy. And like a Marion Hampton's Jay, that's a great comment because it's right in the range. And I think I'll phrase it like this: in full PPR, I might take Hampton just because when we saw Hampton come back from that injury, we saw some games of 6 and 7 catches, and that is maybe the thing that can take him above. But in half PPR, no fucking way I'm taking a Marion Hampton over Saquon Barkley. Full PPR, it's close, but like, you know what? Let's not get cute. Let's take an all-timer over a guy that didn't show us too much as a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of piggyback off of what you said. What does the future look like for Saquon in the Eagles? Is it more than 2 years? If not, just run him into the ground, and that could kind of be what their thought process is. And then another huge thing is their last year's offensive coordinator is now out, and Kevin Patullo, right? I think that's his name.
Yeah.
I think that's also another guy I will be making sure that I try and avoid players on that team, whichever team he goes to. I don't know where he went, but I know they did get rid of him, which is honestly a huge bonus compared to what they had before.
I think Kevin Patullo is selling used cars right now.
Look at this. This is Laurence Olivier and Othello. Mm-hmm. And this is James Earl Jones. Now look at how close they look.
Look at that. James Earl Jones doing a great blackface.
James Earl Jones has a black face. He's a black man.
He's not black. James
of course
Earl
he's black.
He was Darth Vader.
Darth Vader was black?
No,
see, okay, there we go.
Darth Vader was not black. They took the mask off. He was white.
Damn straight. One last point on the Marion Hampton. Now, you know what? I just said I would consider Hampton. Thinking about it right now, that's why I love this show. This is why I love having guests on in the chat. Shout out to the community. Is Mike McDaniel loves having 2 running backs. Like, let's go back to the Raheem Mostert 20 touchdown year, whatever it was. Devin Achane was involved. And like before that, I forget who the other guy was, started out the year involved. And then Ollie Gordon was getting goal line carries last year. Like,
yeah.
We know that Saquon Barkley is the running back room there. Like, as much as Tank Bigsby's solid, who I love Tank Bigsby as a handcuff, love him as a handcuff. But he's not going to be taking work from Saquon, like meaningful work from Saquon Barkley. Kamani Vidal could take some meaningful work. He showed out. He played awesome last year. And they might be drafting somebody. Like, would it surprise you for a Harbaugh run team to draft like another, a day 2 guy, a round 3 guy that's kind of a versatile running back? Like, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, it won't surprise me. And they've made the moves to put themselves in a position if they feel like, hey, we're not going to, try and spend a lot of running backs, so we're just going to try and get a late day 2 pick. Why not? Especially when you're going to be running guys pretty heavily there.
We got MVP in the chat. He is a fanatic in the Patreon. Appreciate you, brother. He's also in our Dynasty League. Hopefully you're voting on all of the rules that we're putting up there now. And if you're not, it's a private chat in the Discord. Appreciate you. He said, made it to a Wednesday stream, finally pumped for the Dynasty. We all are, man. And we'll get more details funneling in here once we vote on some more stuff. You know what? That was the first super chat of the night, 45 minutes in. He just joined the show and dropped $5. He's a fucking awesome man. I didn't meet the goal. Obviously, it's 5 super chats for me to do a beer chug and a shot. I'm going to do it now just because, you know what, I appreciate you. And here we go. I'm going to do this while Chaz gets to his number 3 player. What is your number 3 player?
All right, number 3 player for me is going to be Josh Jacobs. I already know that he's been falling in rankings, but with the departure of Wilson and the more so the fact that Jacobs was getting injured a lot last year, I would not be surprised if they brought in somebody through the draft to kind of alleviate that pressure that he's going to be on. I could see this easily being a 55-45 kind of split where they're trying to give the meaningless touches to a secondary running back so that Josh Jacobs can stay healthy for those, more meaningful goal line carries or red zone touches or just valuable third down touches.
Well, they're definitely going to draft somebody because their number 2 right now is Chris Brooks, who I don't mind.
Very, very.
He is a third down running back. The Marshawn Lloyd experience, the man that gets hurt going shopping at Jewel or Aldi or Meijer, whatever grocery store he chooses to go to, steps in a little pothole. Marshawn Lloyd has never, ever been healthy. He gets hurt at practice, dude. Allen Iverson, we talk about practice. So that experience is over. So they have to draft somebody, and they have to draft somebody that's not a scat back because they have their scat back. They're going to draft a guy day 2. I call it a second or third round. And not to mention, like, Josh Jacobs is very important to them. And what happened last year? They wore him down. He's got so much tread on those tires, and the guy never sits games because he plays injured. And by the time the playoffs were around, we saw it. He just was not the same player. The last 5 weeks of the season was not the same player. So bring in someone to take some workload off Josh Jacobs and have him fresh for the playoffs. They're the favorite in this division. They're going to make the playoffs. The Packers have a stacked roster. And, like, where does that leave Josh Jacobs? Like a high-end RB2, and that's just for this year. This is Dynasty we're talking. So Josh Jacobs is he 28? Let's see. He is currently
28.
RB17. RB19, he's 28 years old. He'll be 29 years old. So, like, really, what are you getting with Josh Jacobs besides touchdown upside?
Very cute.
Oh,
what's his name?
It's Kwame.
It's Kwame. Kwame. Mm-hmm. Nice name. Nice name.
Thank you. I think so too.
Yeah. It's a little light for Kwame, no?
What?
A lot of names to pick, but it was a little darker, maybe.
Yeah, can you go?
That's very scary.
You need to get out.
Hey, any guys want ginger ale?
Get the fuck out.
I could see them. I'm going to shut out a name here. I could see them taking Nick Singleton out of Penn State, a guy that's falling because he broke his foot at the Senior Bowl and didn't do the combine. Yeah. This guy would have lit up the combine. This is a 3rd round pick. He's the perfect complement because as much as I like Chris Brooks, Singleton is, in my mind, the second best pass catcher in this draft. He's 220 pounds. He can be a lead back. He can do a little bit of everything, and he would fit right in there if Josh Jacobs when Josh Jacobs gets hurt. Let me phrase it like that.
It's more so a when as of now.
Okay, a couple comments before I get to my number 3. What rounds would you guys draft Allen or Lamar? My answer is I don't draft these guys. I never draft early quarterback. So if I had to give you an answer, like not my opinion is I don't draft them. So I'm going to give you what rounds should you draft them if you want an elite quarterback. And early, I want to say early 4, but he's never going to last that long. So mid-3rd, end of 3rd for Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson, maybe mid-4, end of 4.
Yeah, it's just kind of hard because those guys are always going to be priced at, they're almost tip-top value. And I think when you're getting a top quarterback, it's always great to wait until, like, if you're planning on a top-tier quarterback, wait until, late round 4, round 5, maybe early round 6, and see if there's still, like, one of those stragglers who, maybe have been, falling a little bit. Obviously, I couldn't really think of a couple names. I mean, I know, like, last year, Joe Burrow, I thought he was falling a little bit. Obviously, he didn't really play out well, but That's more so what you're looking for in getting those like top of the line QBs, in my opinion. I don't like
I'll
taking.
tell you what I do in my
third,
leagues,
round.
Chaz. Well, I do a lot of the Fantrax publics, which are 4 for a passing touchdown, but it's only 20 yards per point. So the passing yards are kind of weighted, and the scramblers are actually valued more because those Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson rushing touchdowns and rushing yards are really valuable. I go through this is what I do for all players, but definitely quarterbacks. I see what their high end is in terms of where they're going, and usually it's end of the second round. Someone will pull the trigger. There'll always be some clown that takes them in the first round. I'm not going to count that. End of the second round, right, for Josh Allen. And then I will look at where he goes at the latest. And that's my benchmark. After 10 drafts, if the latest I see him go is like pick 36, I'm fine taking him at the 3-4 turn because I know I'm getting at least good value on the guy. But like, I just don't draft early quarterbacks. The guy I like this year is Jaden Daniels because he's kind of the forgotten guy. I know a lot of people like Caleb and some of the other guys in the mid, like Drake May. Drake May is due for regression, buddy. Like, no thank you on Drake May.
Regression.
Jaden Daniels is the opposite. Like, if I can get Jaden Daniels in the 5th round, for me, that's a guy that could leap into that, could give me 90% of Josh Allen. But I saved 2 rounds of draft capital. And, like, when you get the 5th round, 6th round, like, yeah, last year was some awesome guys. Chris Olave, George Pickens. There's a lot of really good guys going in that range. There's also 70% busts that don't return value. And give me a quarterback that's going to give me elite upside. And, like, yeah, the word with Jaden Daniels is he gets hurt. He's injury prone, but like I don't care about my quarterback getting hurt because I can replace him so easily with Baker Mayfield, or last year was Trevor Lawrence. It doesn't matter. So that's a guy I'm targeting. And if I don't get, I kind of stop it at Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Caleb, like that, and Drake May. After that, I am just waiting, bro. I am just waiting. I don't even like any of these guys more than the other ones because quarterbacks year to year are so inconsistent with touchdown percentage, right? Like. That changes so much. And like, there's so many things that go into the like elite quarterback season. And like, we're having to project which offense is going to go bananas. Right. And like, which defense of that quarterback is going to be terrible. That's how you get the circus season. So like, I'll just take 2 of the later guys. I will literally take Baker Mayfield and I will take Malik Willis. You know what I mean? Like, that's great. And I'm getting Baker Mayfield in the 12th and Malik Willis in the 13th. I'm cool with that. I hate playing matchups for quarterback, but I also, that means my roster stacked. Maybe I took it early. Maybe I took a Brock Bowers. Like, now I have an elite tight end and I have a pretty elite receiving core, running back room, and I have depth in the bench because I'm taking my 5th receiver, my 4th running back before I take my starting quarterback. And that just gives you a lot more flexibility. Like, going early quarterback. Yeah. You also can't take tight end value. Like, teams that go early quarterback, early tight end are just doomed, bro. They're so doomed.
Yeah, because you're just catching up the entire draft of trying to replicate, what some of those guys got in those early rounds when you took a quarterback, when you took a tight end in the wide receiver running back production, and that's just not going to happen.
Wally says Vikes win the North this year. It's crazy, but what? I don't think it's that crazy because the Lions could crater, the Bears could take a step back, and the Packers are kind of their injury play every year, and it's Kyler Murray. This is a bet on Kyler Murray betting on himself and actually putting the work in, and then Kevin O'Connell. So for any, of all the teams that have a fourth place odds, the lowest odds, the lowest win total in their division, like the Vikings are the easy answer, even though they're in probably the hardest division in football. But they're the best. Like, they would be second or third best team in almost every other division in football. And Kyler, the quarterback play was just. Saying it was bad is like it's like saying I'm chubby or I'm husky. Like, no, I'm fat, bro. Like, that was bad. JJ McCarthy was absolutely dog shit last year, and Carson Wentz had 2 nice games, and then he was hurt and he was awful. Brosmer was the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Oh my god.
They had to change their entire. Kevin O'Connell had to scrap everything he wanted to do, but there's also the thing of like, can Kevin O'Connell fit an offense, right? Fit his offense around a guy that's small, a guy that doesn't process very quickly, and a guy that just doesn't throw over the middle, like doesn't throw dig routes. And like I talked about this like 3 or 4 days ago on the show. 2 years ago, Justin Jefferson's like last great season, he ran 23% dig routes, which is highest in the NFL, and Kyler Murray throws that route the lowest in the NFL. So like what's going to happen there? Is he going to all of a sudden, is Kyler going to start throwing this route? He never throws because he can't throw it, Or are they going to actually use Justin Jefferson like we saw Jamar Chase be used after his rookie year? Like lining up at Z and Y and flanker and in the slot, like all those things. I hope they do that because they use Justin Jefferson in such a static position. And he's good enough to win, right? He's good enough to we've seen it, to produce 1,400-yard seasons just literally lining up at X and going against a big boy corner and having double coverage. But like that was with quarterbacks that actually fit the scheme, which we don't know if this one does.
Yeah, we don't know. And just move him around anywhere, get him in motion more. I mean, that's kind of what today's today's offense or today's day and game or whatever I'm saying. Today's whatever it looks like. Just move him around, get him moving pre-snap, get him moving around, even just where he's lining up, and he's an all-time great. I mean, just let him go out there and win.
That's why I've always I got a lot of shit about saying JSN was not on Justin Jefferson's level, even last year, like towards the end of the year, because JSN was getting so many layup targets last year. He was getting isolated one-on-ones on the perimeter. He was lining up in the backfield, getting nice little hitches, and they were designing touches for JSN. I'm not saying anything against JSN, but have you ever seen a design touch for Justin Jefferson in his career? It just doesn't happen. He's running big boy routes 100% of the time and winning against elite corners when everyone knows that's what he's going to be running. It would just be nice to I want to see what that world looks like. It would be an elite season. Just can we get Justin Jefferson in the backfield for a snap?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like this is the season to do that, to just where you can go, okay, Kyler, go establish yourself, get easy targets, get easy receptions, and let J Jeff, make a play. Let him go, maybe extend a play, go get 20, 30 yards after a catch or something like that, and for something they call behind the line of scrimmage, whatever. Just to let him go be a football player again. That's what it kind of seems like.
Jay is wondering what will Wilson's role be in Seattle. That's Emmanuel Wilson. Who, let's say they don't draft anyone. Let's say they draft a day 3 guy, and they go into the season with Emmanuel Wilson, George Helane, and whoever else they fucking draft. Let's say they bring in Najee Harris or some shit. No one that moves the needle. It's funny, Najee Harris, fall from grace.
Najee.
Would you rather have George Helane or Emmanuel Wilson?
I'd go Wilson. I mean, I liked what I saw from Wilson in Green Bay. It's just, once again, they like to kind of go committee running back there. I know obviously it took, Charbonne's injury for, Walker to kind of flourish, but I think they kind of like to run a committee there no matter what. Unless they're forced into running not a committee.
Wilson will be the early down guy because George Helane, he's a third down back that they don't want to throw the ball to, which is not a good role. And they do like him though. Jay says, does Lamar go top 5 in Dynasty? Yeah, he says Dynasty Superflex. He is number 3 quarterback in Dynasty, and in that case, he's definitely going to be a top 5 pick. And I see Drake May. It makes sense Drake May being ahead of him in Dynasty because of the age, but redraft, I want Lamar Jackson. I know last year was rough, but Lamar wasn't healthy at all the entire year, and this is it. This is the last. I think this year and next year are Lamar Jackson's last 2 chances to actually win a Super Bowl, where he's at his best. Where he's at his prime, because he's slowly going to Lamar Jackson, 29 years old. Which it's funny we're saying this when you see Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers still balling out. He is not those guys. He is a dual threat quarterback that his strength is. Now, it's funny I said this, Lamar Jackson has literally the greatest, the highest passer rate in the history of the NFL. That is because of his legs, though. Let's not fool ourselves. He puts so much pressure on the defense with, and even without Derrick Henry, the RPOs, the offense they're running there, it's because of his legs. If he was to sit there and just be a pocket passer, there's no way his stats would be what they are. It's just that he's extending plays, he's running around. The second that even dips 25%, now you have yourself a pretty regular quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up well there. I think, these next 2 years, what is he going to look like at 31, 32? Is he going to be as athletic, as mobile as he can? That's why I love, in Dynasty Superflex, especially 6-point passing, getting a guy like Burrow, because I could see Burrow, doing that kind of Matthew Stafford thing where he goes for, whatever until he's 39, 40 years old, because that's the kind of game that can be sustained in the NFL, and it's been seen as time and time again.
And the other guy, like the mold of a Caleb Williams, who in this early stage of his career, he's so athletic, and like that's not the reason he's effective as a passer, but it helps him. He's a guy that has the arm talent to just settle into that pocket passer plus at age 34. But to answer your question about Lamar, like what does it look like at 31, 32? We saw what it looked like last year when he was hurt. That is going to be Lamar in 4 years. And like his passing numbers, the accuracy, it was bad. Like they were just not good as an offense. And that was because Lamar was operating at less than 100%. His arm wasn't hurt, guys. It was the fact that he couldn't do the things he was. Now it's a little bit different because he couldn't trust his lower body, but that was kind of like a little snippet of what we're going to see in 3 or 4 years from Lamar. He just doesn't have that juice, and he can't get around the edge. He can't outrun that defensive end, right? He can't extend that play an extra 2 seconds and hit Rashad Bateman on a 40-yard bomb. He's going to get sacked, or he's going to throw the ball away. He's going to become a better version of Tua. I'm kidding. I don't want to throw Tua in there. MVP says, any favorite sleepers this year, any position? Chaz, anyone come to mind for you? We're talking deep dive sleepers here.
Deep dive sleepers. Honestly, I mean, I just love where. I mean, this guy's not a sleeper at all. But I mean, I was preaching it last week. I think DJ Moore at whatever it is, wide receiver 30. I think that's a smash play. In my opinion, I think that's where he was going. Let me quickly check here, especially for
I have a bunch of names
if you're just looking at this year.
Yeah, you love DJ Moore. He loves
DJ Moore, wide receiver 32. I think that's the absolute worst that he could be this year, wide receiver 32. Like I only see a better finish for him.
I got some names for you. So the number one obviously is Mason Taylor, which this is more of a best ball thing, but I think truly as a second tight end, or if you really wait, it's weird because he's going like tight end 28. So it's like he's so far down there, but I think he can creep into the top 12, which would make him a sleeper. That's my number one guy. I love Mason Taylor. Again, just go back and watch Mason Taylor's college highlights. Don't watch his pro highlights because that was with Justin Fields and a broken offense, and he was a rookie. But Mason Taylor for me is number one. Trey Harris is another guy that if I'm going to take a late round receiver, that's kind of just a shot in the dark. Trey Harris, if they don't bring anyone in, like Quentin Johnson is fine. He's good. He is their X receiver. Ladd McConkey's bad. Like he was bad last year. He can't block. So there's a chance Trey Harris, and maybe he overtakes Quentin Johnson as the 2 wide receiver set guy because they're going to play a lot of 12 personnel there in LA. But Trey Harris is the number 3 there. Second round pick out of Ole Miss. Dude shut out. He can play all 3 receiver positions. So I love Trey Harris as much a last round pick. Looking at my roster in terms of guys that I love. Blake Corum. I don't say he's a sleeper, but he's a guy that we saw last year. It was 60-40, 55-45 some of those weeks. And the nice thing is they were splitting goal line carries down the middle. And there wasn't a lot of goal line carries to go around because every single other 2 out of 3 plays on the 5-yard line, they were throwing fades to Devontae Adams and just juicing up Matt Stafford's numbers. Like I think that Matt Stafford got his MVP, and they're going to go back to what they were the previous 2 and 3 years, which was running the ball down people's throats on the goal line with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. So Blake Corum's a guy that gives you RB3 production, but he is the best handcuff in the NFL. So he's startable in a pinch with injuries and bye weeks, and then you get an injury to Kyron Williams and you win your week. I mean, I truly believe Blake Corum would he'd be weekly ranked. Where would you rank him weekly? Let's say it was a 6-week injury to Kyron Williams in the middle of the season. Is he number 3 running back, number 4 running back? I would rank him there. Tied to this offense.
I was going to say top 6. But honestly, looking at this offense, if you're looking at a 6-week stretch of where they need to lean on him, depend on him, I would not doubt it being top 3.
One more for you, maybe 2 more. This one is a really deep dive. It's Jonathan Brooks from Carolina, and this is draft dependent, but Jonathan Brooks was the first running back taken in 2023 in the draft. Came in with a torn ACL out of Texas, then of course plays 2 or 3 weeks with like limited snaps, and then right when he gets back to like a somewhat of a workload in 2024, tears his ACL again. Set out the entire 2025 season. They got rid of Rico Dowdle. They did pay Chuba Hubbard, but it is Chuba Hubbard. Okay, this is just a guy in Chuba Hubbard, and I think they're gonna start the year with Jonathan Brooks. I see myself. Okay, Jonathan Brooks being the number 2, being the handcuff, and we just saw Chuba Hubbard lose his role to Rico Dowdle. We literally just saw this. So would it surprise you if Jonathan Brooks comes in and he's the problem is round pick of Jonathan Brooks. Like this is a guy, and also Caleb Johnson. Like I know he's got 2 guys to overcome, but like these are guys I want to take shots at, younger players. Jonathan Brooks is a 3rd-year player on a pretty open depth chart right now. And again, first running back off the board. He was a 2nd-round pick, but the first running back off the board in that weak running back class.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people on Twitter talk about him in that way, and I mean, you kind of explained it exactly how I think they've all kind of explained it to their followers or the people where they're trying to preach about Jonathan Brooks. I mean, obviously he's had the injuries, but a guy could be, if he looks good, he could easily take a job that was already stolen last year.
Or, I mean, talk about returning value, like just being a functional part of that offense as the number 2, getting 40% of the work. I know that's not like ideal on that offense, but all it takes is an injury. Like you're talking about a handcuff in the last round that might be the actual handcuff, and it's a pretty lucrative role there. And we saw Rico dominate. Chuba had really good weeks on the stretch in 2024. So like Jonathan Brooks is a guy no one's talking about. I want to shout out Mouth South and whoever else it was that warned me on him during my underdog drafts. But definitely like him. All right, I'm going to get to my number 3 here. We're going to go back to our list here. Number 3 sell-hot player, it's Chase Brown, RB12, Chaz. And like I said, I did my list mostly on things that could go wrong in the NFL draft. And he's 26 years old. He's going to be 27 years old. So wasn't high draft capital out of Illinois. I think it was a 4th-round pick, maybe a 5th-round pick. So he's been good, but he's been living off volume, pass catching, and being on an elite offense. So maybe Chase Brown doesn't come back next year. Maybe he goes to a different team, which would he be the starter? Maybe he gets a Rico Dowdle level contract. Also, in the NFL draft, do they draft a running back in day 2? Do they draft a running back in day 1, Chaz? Because the Jeremiah Love thing is weird, because if you look at where we have here, we have the Jets aren't taking him. The Cardinals could take him, but they have too many needs, and they just paid Algier. They restructured James Conner. Like, they still have Trey Benson there, who's a former 2nd-round pick. Now, the Titans are an obvious spot. That's a spot, but they have a lot of needs as well. Could take Carnell Tate or a safety. They could take Caleb Downs. Giants shouldn't take him. Browns won't take him. Washington's a spot, but right now their 2nd wide receiver is literally Chikakonkwo. Like Luke McCaffrey, and they're going to rely on Brandon Ayuk, so they might take a receiver there. And now after that, Saints have ATN and Chiefs have Kenneth Walker. So now you're looking at
that teams just pay people. So
would it be crazy for the Bengals? I know they need defense, right? But that would mean that all the elite defenders are already off the board, and say, fuck it, we're going to go 99 Rams on your ass and have Chase Brown be our 2 and draft Jeremiah Love. Like, I think there's a 10% chance this happens. And if that happens, Chase Brown at RB12. Even without this, though, I'm off of him. I like Chase Brown. Do you like him as a player, or do you think he's more of a compiler and just a product of just getting all the work?
I think he's just a product of getting all the work. I mean, I said it going into last year, and I mean, obviously it worked out great because he did get all that high productive work or high value work, which benefited him a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised. I think Cincinnati might go the route of, they just say, hey, we know our defense is trash. We know our offense needs to just outscore their offense at some point.
Yeah.
And then if they get a guy like Love, then that just puts them, I think, in a tier above everybody else in terms of where their offense is going to be, or like how many points their offense is going to be putting up per game. And I think that's a realistic possibility of what they want to do this upcoming year. Instead of saying, hey, what can we do to fix the defense? They just say, hey, we know it's going to be garbage. What can we do to improve the offense?
And it goes back to protecting your quarterback. I know traditionally you want a left tackle and you want a good offensive line, a blocking tight end, things like that. But it's the Cam Ward thing of okay, well, we want to get him a pass catcher. But you know what also helps a young quarterback in terms of Cam Ward is getting Jeremiah Love, protecting him with a great running game. But Joe Burrow, if you want to keep him healthy, let's get an actual guy that can handle the workload and be efficient and explosive. And Chase Brown's pretty explosive, but he's not efficient. And he's also just awful at the goal line. He's awful. And they don't have anyone. So if they don't draft Jeremiah Love, maybe they take Jonah Coleman. Maybe they take one of these day 2 guys to pound the ball in the end zone. So now if you're losing out on you're already losing out a lot of touchdowns with Chase Brown on the goal line because they're throwing, a back shoulder phase to Jamar Chase all the time on the red zone on the goal line. Now you're looking at, okay, is he going to be even on the field in these plays where he's just been on the field out of necessity because they had Samaje Perine was the only guy who actually is a third down back too. He's a big third down back, but like there's just a lot of ways this can go wrong. Chase Brown RB12. I am selling him right now. That's an RB1, dude. Get rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, go get rid of him. I think that's the moral of the story. Go and get some sort of valuable asset somewhere else, or maybe just try and stack on top of them some draft capital and go and improve, tier up. Just move off them in all cases. And I mean, I was saying it last year, it kind of backfired on me, but we'll see.
We got Miles South in here. What's going on, buddy? Disagree. They moved off Mixon for Brown specifically and fed him 85% of the snaps. They might give Burrow one of the O linemen or Tyson. That would be the thing. It would have surprised you with a franchise like fucking Baltimore just saying, fuck it. If he's available at 10, that's a value. Like he's the top 3 player in this draft. And it's not really a need, but they also have offensive line needs and then everywhere on the defense. Honestly, they lost Trey Hendrickson. Like they need edge rusher. But there's not a lot of good edge rushers in that area. So, they have given him 85% of the snaps. But Miles, do you truly believe that they're giving him that because he deserves it? Like I love Chase Brown. Like I loved him coming out of the draft. I loved him in Illinois, but he's not. Where would you rank him, Chaz, as a running back? Is he like in that 8 through 12, 14 through 18? Like where are you ranking him in terms of talent at the running back position?
Just in terms of talent, like where I'm, looking at other guys that are also here, I would say around 16. Because like I would put Judkins above him, CMC above him, Saquon above him. Like those are all guys that are, in Dynasty ranked lower than him. But I would say more so 16 to 19 range.
I'll say this though: if they don't bring in anyone in day 2, and it's a day 3 banger they bring in for redraft purposes, I'm gonna love Chase Brown at the end of the second round. I'm gonna love him just because it's 70 catch upside, it's big play stuff, and like it's being tied to a top 5 offense, which is what an RB needs to be an elite running back. But this is Dynasty we're talking, and this is down the road stuff. Like I'm getting rid of him at RB12 if I can before the draft because there's some things that can go wrong. It doesn't have to be Jeremiah Love. It can be, like I said, Jonah Coleman. It can be one of these day 2 guys that is going to compete for touches, and he's had no competition. And let's not forget that stretch with Samaje Perine last year was rough, and it was also because Joe Flacco was at the helm. The offense wasn't humming. But like Samaje Perine, it was like a 35% Samaje Perine snap share, that's Samaje fucking Perine, dude. Like that's the definition of just a guy is Samaje Perine.
Just a guy.
That's wild, man. Like they're going to bring in someone better than Samaje. That's just what I think.
Good. Tell me everything.
Okay, they were both here. They were both inside me. Eduardo was in my mouth and Luther was in my butt.
Oh my God, no, don't tell me everything. What? No, what?
Damn it, Bonnie.
Eduardo who?
Sanchez.
Holy shit, tell us more.
Then Luther went in Eduardo's butt for a while.
Tell us less. Tell us less.
Then they both completed on each other. I was left out of the finale.
Katron Allen, that's a nice call, Mouth. Katron Allen, the 4th round to the Bengals, though, that's the perfect complement to what Chase Brown does because he offers nothing in the passing game, and he is a sturdy 220. And that would be, I'm saying, like, I know it's a 4th round pick, but that would be a little bit, I would be a little bit more off Chase Brown than I am right now for redraft. Like, I'm at consensus on him at redraft right now, but that would be one that's kind of like, okay, people they're going to overlook it and be like, it's a 4th round player. But knowing this guy's skill set, that's damning. That's like, okay, he's going to be the goal line back. I know it's crazy to say a rookie's going to get that, but again, go back and watch the film, look at the numbers. Chase Brown, not a good goal line back. Like he is just too small. He runs hard, too small.
Interesting. I honestly don't know that much about Katron Allen, so
I call him Fat Boy. He looks like he's like a tall version of Maurice Jones-Drew. Is what I would comp him, but without the pass catching chops. All right, let's get to your number 4, Chaz, on players we are selling right now before the draft.
This is kind of a guy that we've already talked about. when I was discussing another player, but just once again, I'm going to reiterate getting off of a guy like CJ Stroud. I'm just looking at the guys around him. Like
He's my number 5. I knew you'd have him on the list. He's my number 5.
I mean, you look at guys around him. I mean, Kyler Murray, Tyler Shuck, Cam Moore. Those are all 3 to 4 running backs are right in that range of where he's kind of going in Dynasty. I would much rather have all
quarterback
3 of those guys.
17.
It's just too high for me, especially when we were already talking about Nico Collins and his production might be going down a little bit. Where can CJ Stroud get 30 to 35 touchdowns? We just don't think that could be possible, especially with after this year. If he doesn't prevail, are they going to give him that long-term contract? In terms of Dynasty, just get off of him now, I think, and go and get any of those guys that I discussed about. Maybe even if you want to try and pivot towards a more win now, maybe we'll get like a Sam Darnold type guy. Just anything kind of pivot off of CJ Stroud. I think this is a bad investment.
Well, he's in that like no man's land of Dynasty quarterbacks. He's 24 years old. That's why when we say he's high, like it's actually pretty low, but because he's 24. Yeah. But like he's not a win now quarterback because we mentioned the stat of Anthony Richardson having more top 5 finishes than him in a third of the starts. And he's not like, we don't know his future because now I think it'd be better if he leaves Houston because Houston's defense, like I mentioned earlier, too good. You're not getting those elite performances. He refuses to run, and like he's not all of a sudden going to start running more as he gets older. So like that's a done deal. You're not getting any elite production on the ground, and the defense is too good. So age 24, it's a no man's land. I have written down here, but he's going before Mendoza, Goff, Cam Ward, Sam Darnold, Shuck, Willis. Like, why? I don't get it. Baker Mayfield is 31 years old, I guess. He's one spot ahead of him. But like we've seen these pocket quarterbacks like last forever, right? So give me the guy that's producing. Give me the guy that I think has potential to be a top 8 fantasy quarterback. Like, is there, unless this is a super flex league, like I don't want CJ Stroud on my roster. Like he's just eating up space. He's just sitting there collecting unemployment. He's like a deadbeat son that's just like in the basement playing Halo, smoking weed, eating Cheetos. It's not doing anything for me. So it blew my mind. That was my number 5. I just don't get it. And man, I think CJ Stroud's just a much better real life quarterback than fantasy quarterback. He definitely is just not a fantasy quarterback. Even his rookie year was off. It was the Tank Dell experience. It was elite efficiency. The passing yards were really high, but he missed 2 or 3 games. It was only 22 touchdown passes. So the guy's never thrown over 23 touchdowns in a season. He refuses to run. It's like, what are you really getting with him? You're getting, what's his ceiling? 30 touchdown passes in a year? Maybe. I can replace that.
I mean, the touchdown regression has been shown at year after year, and honestly, it's what is he going to be able to do going forward? So it just looking at him, it's more of like, okay, this guy's a liability instead of an asset. That's just not what you want to have on your dynasty team. It's clogging up roster space. Go get someone actually that's an asset.
Chaz, Mal's calling you out a little bit, and other people. If you don't know about Penn State's Katron Allen, they need to watch the running back show. The analysis is worse. The takes are crazier. And I watch way too much film to remain sane. That's going to be next Tuesday, guys, on Downtown Fanatics on this very program, 10 p.m. Central. Also, while I'm at it, I'm going to shout out my boy, Mouse South and Downtown Sports. Guys, they just got done recording, or they're going to record or they'll be releasing the episode later tonight or early tomorrow. Downtown Sports, Mouth and Beast, where sports comes home. They have a YouTube channel now, guys. Downtown Sports. Search them up, or in the Discord, you'll find the link when I post the episode. But also 23 other platforms and every single podcast platform. Just search Downtown Sports, or go to the link in this very description and check them out, guys. It's one show a week. It's 2 hours, more real life driven than ours. They also talk NBA, NHL, MLB, anything and everything sports. So if you don't get your fix enough on this show, check them out. Or even if you do, check them out. Different take, different personalities. You all seen Mouth. You love Mouth in the chat, in the Discord, as well as this show. So, yeah, give them a look because I listen to them every single week. I got a busy schedule. I'm not working. I'm putting in 40, 50 hours in this show. I got a wife. I got dog. That's right. A lot of stuff going on here for me, and I still listen. So y'all should definitely listen. I wouldn't endorse it if it wasn't something I actually listen. And you know what I do? I also learn something every time more than one thing every time I listen. And there's a lot of shows. I want to call it names, but fantasy footballers. Sorry, I don't learn a goddamn thing from them. So yeah, maybe they're entertaining. I don't think they're very entertaining, but you can watch them, or you can just watch Downtown Sports just once a week. Why the hell not?
Yeah, I mean that's especially if it's anything like this, which I would assume, considering you are interlinked with that. Whenever I'm on here or whenever I'm watching the show, I always learn something new about what's going on in the NFL world, and yeah, go watch.
Thanks, Chaz. There's Helen Hunt.
Hmm.
Hi, Helen. All right, I have. Let's see.
Helen.
Ooh, I haven't played this clip in a while. I'm just gonna play it.
I was between that and Muhammad. Why the fuck would it be between that or Muhammad? Why don't you just pick a common name like a normal person?
Muhammad is the most commonly used name on earth. Read a fucking book for one.
That's like deciding between like the counselor or the fantasy footballers. Like, well, it's either that or Muhammad. Like, why would it be between those two? There's a million other shows. Go watch Matt Harmon. Go watch fucking Downtown Sports. Watch this program. We give you more than enough content. We're literally on here 6 nights a week this time of year. I did 25 shows during March, Chaz. It's I've missed one day. This is the 8th. I've done 7 out of 8 shows in April already, with a lot of those shows being 2 to 3 hours. So,
I
love this one. This one, like AC Slater's sports segment on Saved by the Bell. That's pretty good. Saved by the Bell reference. A little before your time, Chaz. So my number 4. Let's get to my number 4. Brenton Strange, tight end 14. This is kind of a weird one because he's not valued very high, but he's almost in the tight end ones. And there's a good chance they draft somebody. I don't think they're necessarily going to draft Sadiq or Stowers. I don't know. They're going to draft somebody, and this is a really deep. Me and Mouth went over this on Monday. Very deep tight end class, very elite tight end class. 7-8 names that if they draft, they will be competing with Brenton Strange. And Brenton Strange is actually a really good blocker. So if they draft a Michael Trigg or one of these other athletic tight ends, they play a lot. Every team's playing 12 personnel now. Who's going to be there? Who's going to be there sitting there blocking? It's Brenton Strange. It's not going to be the rookie. So Brenton Strange is fine. He just doesn't score touchdowns also. And like, you're getting some PPR value, I suppose, but like, I just don't think he's their future tight end. He's not a tight end 1. He's not their future. So if you can get out of him now at tight end 14, trade him. He's probably not your starter. Trade him to a tight end needy team. Be like, this is a young tight end, and like give him some, per game stuff, because he got hurt last year. He is, he's only 25 years old. Get rid of him. If you're in a win now situation and there's a team that has George Kittle that's in a losing situation, George Kittle is 2 spots below him. I'll give you Brenton Strange for George Kittle. If they don't want that, I'll give you Brenton Strange and a round 2 pick for George Kittle. Something like that. Like, just get rid of Brenton Strange. He does nothing for me. I just off my board for redraft, off my board for Dynasty.
Yeah, that's definitely not where I was kind of thinking, but based off of what you were saying, because I haven't really been looking at that tight end situation in Jacksonville at all this offseason. So pretty interesting insight there.
It's gross. It's just also, let's look at the receiver room. You have Travis Hunter, who's just like a feather in the wind right now. We don't know what's going on with him, but they signed Jacoby Myers. Brian Thomas is a thing. Brian Thomas is great. Like, it was a bad year last year. They love Parker Washington. People are taking Parker Washington in the fucking 6th round in best balls. So like, in Travis Hunter, they're going to have to use him. So where does that leave a tight? Even if he's a starting tight end, like, he's the 5th option on a team that has Trevor Lawrence, who his mouth always says, had a shut up mouth, can't throw the ball over 6 yards downfield. And what does Trevor Lawrence do now? Like, when he's been successful these last couple of years, he's a run first guy inside the top 10 yard line, right? Like, so he's taking those touchdowns away. And Chris Rodriguez is gonna be the banger there. They have Tootin. Like, he is the 5th option in this offense, and Trevor Lawrence is gonna take a lot of rushing touchdowns away from them. Those are the touchdowns the tight end score, right? Inside the 10 in the green zone. And like, if that's Trevor Lawrence taking 8 or 9, he had 9 rushing touchdowns last year. Like, that's just 9 less opportunities that Brenton Strange is going to have over a guy on the Rams, right? One of the Rams tight ends. Like, Matt Stafford's not running anything in. So I just don't see any upside in Brenton Strange. Get rid of him, dude.
I like it. Here, do you want me to go into my next guy?
Yeah. What is your number 5?
I'm gonna go Ricky P. This is more so in the fact that I understand he's already ranked pretty low, wide receiver 38, hasn't shown any ability to stay healthy And I think the thing is for me is also we've now seen San Fran bring in the guy in Mike Evans, which is telling me that they don't like Ricky P as much as we think that they do. And this could also lead to, okay, down the line, are they going to potentially look to be drafting guys or bring other guys in to fill those kind of wide receiver holes if they don't think Ricky P can be that guy?
They brought in Christian Kirk. I'm not saying that's crazy, but like Christian Kirk had some moments. He's a fine receiver. Mike Evans, and they're not done. They're going to bring someone else in. They always like drafting these late round guys. I could make an argument both sides, though. This is the ultimate buy low too, just because
I
what
could
you're
see that
saying
as
is
well,
you're out of Saul, and I'm trying to read between the lines. It's because of injuries, because the guy can't stay on the field, and it's just
can't stay out on the field. And now we've seen the team kind of invest in players in the same position other than him, and that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ricky P. His like per route stuff is awesome. His route chart's awesome. His production's awesome when he's in the field. But that's the caveat. When he's on the field, he's never on the field. And now you have Mike Evans, and eventually Kittle's coming back. Christian McCaffrey is still the offense. Yeah. It is hard for me with you're tied to Kyle Shanahan, and I know they love this kid. But it's one of these things where he just can never stay healthy, or does he put it together? Because if he stays healthy, he's going to destroy this year. He's going to destroy it down the line. But also, like, how much is too much, right? Like, when is it just time to just say, fuck it? You can still get some value for him and just move on.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm waiting for. I think this is a get value and move on type of player. I mean, I understand, when he did play, he was great. I just don't think he can stay healthy especially because I watched a lot of CMC last year. Considering he is on one of my teams that's really good. So I like the player, just not the fact that he can not play more than 11 games in a year, 11, 12 games.
Miles says Trevor Lawrence equals Tim Tebow. Now that's a low blow. I mean, that's if you're Trevor Lawrence.
That's a little too far. That's a little too far. I think T.Y. is still great, better than Tebow.
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, I still have some hope. Last year was good.
Hey guys, the management needs everybody to get out because they caught a guy jerking off in here, and they're going to send in a crew to wipe down the loads. Go ahead.
Mouth, I will forever hate the 49ers. I'm hearing a nightmare. Lawrence to San Fran for a 2nd and 4th in Ayuk. What about Brock Purdy? How does that tie in there? Is Brock Purdy part of this deal? Who would you rather have if you were starting a franchise right now? Brock Purdy or Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, I would go Brock Purdy. I know it's kind of a could be a scheme thing, but I think realistically we've seen it with Purdy. Like with him being great. A lot more than T.Y.
It should be Trevor Lawrence. Like, Trevor Lawrence is 6 inches taller. Trevor Lawrence is a former number 1 overall pick, where Brock Purdy is Mr. Irrelevant. Brock Purdy is tied to Kyle Shanahan, right? Where you could say that's the reason that his production has been so good. But the answer is Brock Purdy, because at least I know what I'm getting. Like, Trevor Lawrence has had 2 good seasons out of is this 6 seasons for Trevor Lawrence? It's at least 5. I think it's 5 seasons. So 2 out of 5?
At least 5. I think same draft.
Oh,
Fields, right?
He's 21? He's talking Dexter Lawrence. That's why I was a little confused. So it was a good conversation about Brock Purdy versus Trevor Lawrence. So Dexter Lawrence to San Fran for a 2nd and a 4th in Ayuk. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Because the Giants need another wide receiver, and they don't want to draft one if they can help it. And Dexter Lawrence wants $30 million per year, which I don't think is going to fucking happen. And his cap hit's like 29, but I think he actually makes like 20 this year. Oh, that they need help on that D line, bro. And the Giants have, I mean, that would be a big hole for them, but they have all the edge rushers. Like they would draft somebody obviously in the draft. There's a pretty deep defensive tackle class. What do you think about that? Second, is that too much? I owe a shot and a beer while you talk.
I would say no. I would worry about throwing a guy like Ayuk in there. I mean, a guy who's going to want to get paid. We've already seen him be problems. I wouldn't mind that deal without Ayuk. Just getting a second and a fourth, and then they can easily, especially a team like the Giants can easily replace a D lineman. I mean, they're valuable, but they're not that hard to find, especially in the draft.
Dexter Lawrence, man, he's still a good player, but he is trending down. Like, so for him to try to like want the most money he's made and be an elite, paid like elite money, that's silly. That's fucking silly. And Ayuk isn't even a trade asset because, like, I don't know if you saw the reports on Ayuk. Like, they're saying they might hold on to him till like September 1st and then cut his ass because he's not going to play in the Niners. But like, they want to screw him over. Like, they're like a vindictive ex-girlfriend that's going to like throw all your shit in the street. Like, they should. So, but like at that point, like the only way to get Ayuk is they're trying to get value for him. They're trying to get a 4th rounder, 5th rounder, whatever, like from the Commanders, because it's like they're. You don't want to bring Brandon Ayuk in that late in this, like, essentially the season starting, and he's going to have no reps. Coming off an injury, like, no. So, like, I would still sign him, but, like, he's not going to be part of your immediate future if you're getting him September 1st. Like, what is he going to mean? Like, the Commanders need him. The Commanders need him.
Yeah, I mean, and what kind of led to that injury was also not being in the OTAs, not properly getting ready for the season. And more worrying about his contract issue, and then, whatever the fiasco happened there. I mean, I just remember it was just brutal.
We gotta talk about Tim Tebow, but I have to pee and grab a beer, so I'm gonna play a clip. If I'm not back yet, talk about Tim Tebow. I know it's a little before your time, but you know about Tim Tebow, right? The slowest release in the history of the NFL. Super slow. All right, I'll be back in 50 seconds.
Jay Quellen. No Jay Quellen here?
Do you mean Jacqueline?
Okay, so that's how it's gonna be. Balake. Where is Balake at? Yes, sir.
My name's Blake.
Are you out of your goddamn mind? Do you want to go to war, Balake?
No.
D Nice. Is there a D Nice?
Do you mean Denise?
Son of a bitch! Aaron. Where are you? Where is Aaron right now?
Here.
I said it like 4 times, so why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
Son of a bitch!
Oh boy. Well, going back to Tim Tebow. I mean, as what Rob was saying, he is kind of more before my time. The one kind of memory that I have of him was in that playoff game when he hit Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace, to go and win that playoff game. But I mean a lot. I obviously know that he won the championships and that those Florida teams, a lot of those guys were criminals or whatever the hell was going on there. I don't know exactly.
Aaron Hernandez. It was the Aaron Hernandez, Urban Meyer years, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know a little bit about that, but that was just kind of explaining that the only thing I for sure remember about Tebow is that playoff game.
I heard you.
Yeah.
Demaryius Thomas walk-off against the Steelers. Pretty notable shits. Slowest release in NFL history. One of the weakest arms in NFL history. But crunch time in terms of like last 5 minutes of the game was elite. But here's the problem. The reason they were trailing in these games because Tim Tebow would be like 6 for 14 for 57 yards and 30 yards rushing. And then he'd have a drive where he was like 6 of 8 for 60 yards and a rushing touchdown, and they'd win the game. But, oh, man, Tim Tebow. And I always go back to fucking Skip Bayless, who, he's always just over the top. It's ESPN, right? First Take. And it was always just like LeBron hate and Tim Tebow love. And I remember a specific quote saying that it was that Tim Tebow was more primetime TV than like Kobe Bryant, like things like this, where it's just like, man, like it's prisoner of the moment shit. And you know what? There's a reason Tim Tebow's out of the league. Where another guy I would say that didn't justify being out of the league is Vince Young. Those guys were both very similar because they were both all-time college quarterbacks, college football players, really decorated, a lot of wins, and Heisman guys. But Vince Young, I feel I know he had some off the field stuff, some alcohol stuff, I think, mental health stuff, but Vince Young could have been a thing in the NFL. I really think he could have. He had also because Tim Tebow had a winning record as a quarterback, And it just never, Tim Tebow's one of the best college quarterbacks of all time. I mean, it's not even debatable. Like he's the perfect college quarterback because he was 235 pounds and he was a fullback, and he, the arm strength and the arm talent and the release didn't matter in college because he was throwing to guys like Percy Harvin and Aaron Hernandez and guys that are just all-time, almost all-time NFL players. Or like Aaron Hernandez would have been, I just wonder what Aaron Hernandez would have been if there was no murders. You know what I mean? Like, he was on a better trajectory than Gronk. Now, I know Gronk's a better real-life tight end. Like, that guy's just in my opinion, the best tight end to ever walk the earth. But Aaron Hernandez was the original, move tight end. And it was unreal what he was doing at 23 years old in the NFL. And mind you, the guy wasn't even working at it. Like, he was fucking smoking PCP and partying. I'm just saying, he was high, and he, not saying he wasn't working out, but, he definitely wasn't, in the fucking film room. And he was still dominating, dude. What a sad situation, Aaron Hernandez. Just such a waste. You know what I mean? A waste of his life, other people's lives. And he wasn't even a bad dude. Let me rephrase that. He didn't have a bad upbringing. It's not like he was a gangster he grew up in the fucking suburbs. He wanted to be a gangster. He chose this path. He lost his goddamn mind. And you know what? CTE played a big part in that, guys. It's a fact. He had stage 2 CTE. It's easy to blame the CTE. Same with
study his
OJ
brain when he died?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and OJ was the same thing. But it's hard to there's a lot of guys that have CTE that aren't going out there murdering people. You know what I mean? A lot of times they murder themselves. They're not they're murdering people, dude. It's not that CTE didn't help, right? PCP and CTE, it's like the letter game. It's like the Dave Chappelle alphabet people thing. CTE and PCP did not help him at all.
Things go well, I might be showing him my O face. Oh. You know what I'm talking about. Oh.
Shout out to Nick O, who's going to be coming on the show in the next week or two. He's been on vacation, but we miss Nick O around here. Let's finish a couple more questions, and I have my number 5. My number 5 was CJ Stroud, but I had a bonus one because I figured you would have CJ Stroud on your list. I also want Ricky P for the Dexter Lawrence trade. P. Tebow was a monster in college. All right, let's get to my number 5. Ladd McConkey, wide receiver 15. I don't like Ladd McConkey this year. I don't like Ladd McConkey in the future. I don't like Ladd McConkey at all. He was one of my most faded players last year. I didn't believe the rookie production stuff. I mean, I know it was awesome in the route tree. Again, I love Matt Harmon. And his rookie route, his winning percentage, his reception perception was amazing. I don't see it on the field. He disappears. He can't block. He doesn't have elite speed. He's a tough guy. What's your pulse on Ladd McConkey, the player? Let's start there.
I pulse him at a Grady kind of wide receiver that can, get open underneath. I mean, but he's not that kind of guy that's going to be a future, amazing wide receiver 1. And I understand completely where your hate is coming, or I won't say hate, but just dislike comes from.
So let's look at the guys around him in Dynasty. So directly in front of him, I'm going to read you the 3 names. I'll give you 4 names here. 14's Olave, 13's Garrett Wilson, 12's Ibuka, and 11's George Pickens. So I would probably want him and Ibuka are tough. I hate both those guys. But yeah, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, I know you can maybe give me with Chris Olave, but I don't want Ladd McConkey anywhere near those guys. Garrett Wilson's a fucking true alpha stud. Right after him, you have Rashee Rice, who is not getting suspended this year and tied to Patrick Mahomes. Not a big fan of the player, but I want him. His production's amazing every time he's in the field. T. Higgins at 17. Now we're actually getting in that range, but give me a guy tied to Joe Burrow that we see is dominant when he's on the field. And then we have Mekhi Lemon, A.J. Brown, Carnell Tate, Luther Bird, and Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas. So I'm just going to throw you Brian Thomas or Ladd McConkey. Brian Thomas is at 23. And then these two, Brian Thomas Jr. at 23 and Zay Flowers at 24. I think Zay Flowers is a really good one because they're similar type players. Who do you want? Zay Flowers in Dynasty or Ladd McConkey going forward? They're the same age. Ladd's 1 year younger.
Yeah, Ladd is 1 year younger. I'm going to go Zay Flowers just because I think they're going to give him that for sure huge contract coming up. And honestly, I think, looking at these next couple of years of where you want your value. And as you said, I think there's still 2 more years of peak, Lamar Jackson value, and that's where Zay Flowers should be at his best. Vlad McConkey, I could see him kind of, I wouldn't say, he'll never get shoved down a depth chart, but I just think, as you said, he could get lost in a game. You know what I'm saying?
He has. And Storey always, coming out of college, Storey always made this take about Vlad McConkey. We were both not big fans, and that did not look good year one. We looked like we missed on him. But he disappeared in college games, and he was obviously teammates with Brock Bowers. But like, no alpha receiver should ever have 0 catches in a college game, in any game. But like that, and that's what we saw last year from Ladd, right? That's what we saw last year from Ladd. It was like, I know the offensive line was trash, right? But like Quentin Johnson did just fine. Aronde Gatson did just fine. Vlad McConkey shouldn't have been the one struggling because he's not running downfield routes. It's like he should have been hitting on these quick, but he wasn't open. Like I trust Justin Herbert. He was not open. Now, we could blame the offensive coordinator for not, adjusting the offense to. And I read the stat a couple weeks ago on the show that they ran the most 3 wide receiver sets in the NFL with no offensive line, which is wild. Now, maybe they didn't have the personnel at tight end to play 12 personnel because it was a bunch of just guys. Aronde Gatson's essentially a wide receiver out there. But the 66 catches, what was the numbers? It was 66 catches, like 900 yards. I'm looking at season stats. So it's 66 catches, 789 yards. What? 6 touchdowns. The touchdowns are kind of nice, technically, for that volume. But, dude, he played 16 games last year, and he finished the year with 789 yards. What is that? Like, when he was the number 1, I mean, he was. Keenan Allen hurt him a bit, but
the target share went down. The yard per target went down. The yard per route run, went down. It hit a huge regression, which and this is also on over 100 more routes ran compared to the year before. So it doesn't look good in what I would say.
Listen to these game logs. This is week 11 on. 3 for 13, 4 for 39, 1 for 12, 2 for 20, 4 for 43, and 1 for 31. I don't care the situation, dude. That's dog shit. Like, that's dog shit. And Vlad McConkey's dog shit. So I'm getting rid of him right now, wide receiver 15. Last question. Brian Thomas or Vlad McConkey for Dynasty? Brian Thomas, I said, is wide receiver 23. Ladd's wide receiver 15. Brian Thomas is way younger, right? Brian Thomas is 23. Ladd's 24. So I guess only 1 year younger, but still pretty young.
When you're younger, I'm going to go BTJ. I'm going to go BTJ just because of we've seen him put an elite, stretch of games, end to a season on tape, on film. I know, obviously, Glad had a great year 1, but obviously, with how, just week 9 and on, he didn't have more than 4 receptions in a game. Like that's worrisome for being your wide receiver 1 moving forward, and a guy that they needed to kind of lean on, which, it wasn't there.
So you just said you want wide receiver 23 and wide receiver 24 over wide receiver 15, which is exactly what I'm saying. I'm going to give you, let's play the game. Let's see how low we can go. Wide receiver 25, Mr. Marvin Harrison Jr. He's 23 years old. Marvin Harrison or Ladd McConkey?
God, that is such a tough one, because I'm also higher on, Marvin Harrison Jr. than I probably should be.
Just say it. Just say it. We know the answer.
Just off of Dynasty, where I think, where value could be in Marvin Harrison, just because he was that elite prospect that I still believe in.
Agreed. Same. Number 26, Jalen Waddle, now with attached to Bo Nix. We're going on here. I want Jalen Waddle, bro.
I would say that's
27 years old.
50. I would say that's a 50-50. If you want a younger squad and you want, value to, I wouldn't say stay there or kind of, regress a little bit, I think you go Ladd, or just pivot off of Ladd if you do.
Number 27, Devonta Smith, 27 years old. AJ Brown might be getting moved. Devonta Smith. You're going Ladd over Devonta. That's your line.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
my line. I would for sure go Ladd. Well,
So your line is I want Devonta Smith over Ladd McConkey. So I and then number 28 is Jameson Williams. Now we're in a discussion. In half PPR, I want Jameson Williams. In full PPR, I probably want Ladd. So I think my line is 28. That is 13 spots lower than where he's currently ranked. That is why I have him on my list. That's insane.
I like it.
That's insane.
I mean, it feels like a lot of time on here where you're always getting into a Ladd McConkey, hate show, which honestly is looking at the stats, looking at guys that are behind him, it totally makes sense.
But if you remember, early in the year last year, I was actually on the Ladd McConkey train because people were saying drop him. And now it didn't end up good, but he had that stretch after the arguments where all I said was that Ladd McConkey would finish ahead of Quentin Johnson at the end of the year, which did happen. Now, you know what I'm saying? It's like, just because I have that's just, there's macro and there's micro. And in the micro, like, I don't mind Ladd McConkey in certain situations. If he's going to be valued as like wide receiver 50, fucking love the guy. Like, this is never about the player. Like, I don't like Ladd McConkey, the player, but the point of winning money, gambling, and in fantasy, especially in Dynasty, of all three, the most important is understanding like the small stuff. And it's not about 3 years down the road. Sometimes it's about now, because you can always move them. You can always trade them down the road. And like, we also can't get dug in too much on our takes. Like, with new information arises, when new things happen, and when it's mostly when the community overreacts, that's when we pounce, right? That's when we pounce. And right now, apparently, all that talk I just had about last year, everyone's saying Ladd McConkey's a bum, which happened week 3 last year, and they're going to drop him. And then he had a nice middle part of the season. Then he sucked the last 5 weeks. Now the community is right back to ranking Ladd McConkey at 15. Why? Because Mike McDaniel's there for a year? Like, that's cool. I don't even like Ladd McConkey in redraft this year. So it's like, people, they just, everything is just, it's the news cycle stuff. It's Gen Z. No offense, Chaz. It's everything is just over. It's just too much. Like, dude, we need to be consistent and like not overreact to a small sample size and like a blurb, dude. It's fucking gay.
Your hands are what makes it possible. Your shoulder pads are hard and stiff. Your hands are tender and they can move and caress the ball. That's kind of gay, but hey.
All right, so let's get a couple comments. We didn't talk about free agents. We can talk about a couple of free agents before we get off the program, Chaz. MVP says, anyone going to pick up Henry Ruggs? I think he'll be out later this year. So they should. I mean, Michael Vick's got a second chance. I know he murdered dogs. He didn't murder people. But the thing is, Henry Ruggs also murdered a dog. So there is some correlation. There was a lady and a dog in the car. So
yes, I was probably
what?
Say, yeah.
He did. Yeah. So he should get a second chance, because for me, when he did pay the price in terms of his contract, money, and he lost 3 years of his life. Like, dude, he did hard time. I mean, that's
more. I think it was more than that. So
4 years then. It's been 4
years. Hard
years.
time. I think he definitely learned how to go from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, because he was a great wide receiver before like that stuff happened. Like, he was on the rise. I actually had him on my team, and then that happened, and it was like, just gotta take it a while to sometimes.
Yeah, I have a little story for you. So you see you have your team. So that was the second year of the channel, 2022, I believe it was, when he got in that accident. It was like week 5, right? He was having a hell of a first. The first week was rough, and he had like 3 really nice weeks in a row of like 70, 80 yards. And I had Henry Ruggs as a pillar player. I had him as my second most owned player in best ball, because he was going like wide receiver 45 because he had a bad rookie year. And I had him on so many teams, specifically best ball. And then I get the news, and you know what? Just want to pour one out and say, it was a tragedy. And I feel really sorry for the family of the girl and, the dog, of course. Yeah. I love dogs. But it was also a tragedy for me, because I wake up and, like, it's one thing if your guy tears his ACL, bro. Like, the guy's not going to be on the field for me because he fucking decided to go 160 miles an hour and kill 2 people, or person and a dog, and like ruin his own life. Like, fuck you, Henry Ruggs. And it's just really not fair.
It's really unfair. It's my team. It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair. We lost as a team.
Like, I'm always fine with my guys getting hurt in practice, and not as much in practice, but like that's part of the game. In games, I understand it, dude. It's going to happen. You're going to lose some guys to injuries. But when it's because of this, or even suspension, PEDs, like that's part of the game. Like that we all have the same odds. But like, you shouldn't be losing a guy on all your teams because he's a fucking knucklehead that wants to street race or whatever. He wasn't even street racing. He was just driving really, really fast, fucked up. From
I'm drunk. I'm drunk. Yeah, that was.
We've all been there, man. And that's the thing is he was 22 years old when this happened, 21 years old maybe. Like, I'm willing to give the kid a second chance, and I don't know if I'm going to draft him in fantasy because he's going to have a long, long road to hoe there to get back to relevancy. But he deserves another chance. He could probably still run. He probably had nothing. You know, he probably found Jesus. You know, they all find Jesus, guys. Like they're fine. They're good people now. They found Jesus. They read the Bible. Him and CJ Stroud can talk about.
Yeah,
you know what? He can go to Houston. Go to Houston.
He can go there. Screw it. I mean, he's still probably like 26, right? 27.
Let's look it up here. Henry
he just turned 27 January 24th.
So young. God.
Just still, yeah. I mean,
overdrafted though. Definitely an overdrafted player in the NFL draft. He was one of the original modern day 40-time like guys. You know, John Ross was one of these guys that just like you know, they would have been second round picks and they run a 4.25 and it's like, oh, first rounder. And he can't really play football. He can't really run routes or catch the ball or doing the things we need them to do. They just run really fast, which is fine. But cautionary tales, man, because it's not been going well for these speed guys. I had the graphic up the other day, and it's just really, really, really bad. Tyreek Hill didn't make the graphic because he was a 4.25, but it was pro day. Didn't do a combine run, probably because he was like suspended or something, or in like legal trouble. But the only guy, so there was 30 guys since 2000 that ran, the top 30 guys that were all like 4.32 or below. There was 1,000-yard season registered, not just one guy that had 1,000-yard seasons, 1,000-yard season. It was Santana Moss, who was actually a pretty good receiver. But like, that's a big list of dudes. And like, notably the most recent is Xavier Worthy, who might get to that point, but he just can't stay healthy. That's such a damning list. That's like, the reason these guys are getting drafted at all or getting the draft capital that they receive is because they're 40 time, which is one drill out of how many drills. And it's also not even a football. Like, it's not a football move.
They're not even wearing
pads.
pads. They're not even wearing pads. Yeah. You're just running in a straight line, which I don't know. I don't get it. I understand trying to understand a player's speed, but drafting a wide receiver solely off that is just not good.
QJ surpassed McConkey last year and could even see Trey Harris finally having a role. Granted, no Allen means Conkey could have a new role in the offense. That's the upside is no Keenan Allen because they were running. They almost changed McConkey's routes and role because of Keenan Allen because Keenan Allen cannot do anything else but run out of the slot. And yes, the upside is this year. This is why for me, I don't like him this year, but I definitely hate him at Dynasty wide receiver 15. Like that's the thing is because McDaniels is going to be there 1 year. I promise you, they're going to dominate this year. And he's going to get a head coaching role because it's not even about this year. Guys, let's not forget, he made Tua, who's one of the worst quarterbacks ever, the leading passer in the NFL 2 years. 2 years. And they had the number one offense one of those years. The other year was what, like number 3 or number 4? With
it was very high up there.
A geriatric, broken hip, immobile, literally noodle brain. Like he's so bad. Tua is so bad. And you know what? That's why I know as weird as Mike McDaniel is, he's bad. He's not a good head coach. He's not a leader, but he knows how to fucking run an offense. And I don't think the NFL, everyone said the NFL caught up to him. I think it was the NFL caught up to Tua. And Tua's physical ability just was decrepit, dude. It was so bad those last 2 years. Like any pressure, you just see Tua like take 2 steps to the left, see a defender, and like throw the ball in the dirt or get sacked or throw a pick. That was like the 3 outcomes. It's like the Josh Allen has 3 outcomes. It's like, okay, a touchdown, a 14-yard rush, or he throws for a first down. It's never a negative play when he's out of the pocket, ever.
Yeah, I mean, I started Tua in a lot of games last year because, I mean, that was before I had Joe Flacco, before I had Matthew Stafford, and just watching him it felt like, the defenses were just reading him so well, and they knew exactly what he was going to do and where he was going to go on any given throw. And there was, they just kind of caught up to him, and I just think it's over for him. He got paid. It's time to get out of the NFL. Or at least that's what Tua should do now.
Ruggs to KC upon release. Now that's Andy Reid's kind of player, isn't it?
Andy Reid's that's exactly what they could be kind of looking for, a rejuvenated player. And I understand it's kind of a brand risk, but
let's see. The Chiefs don't give a fuck for one because they're running.
They have Rice already. They already
Kareem
have
Hunt. They signed Kareem Hunt. They have Rasheed Rice, and let's not forget the Eagles times. Who gave Michael Vick a second chance? It was Andy Reid. I'm just saying. See, it's all working up here, man. It just flows.
The gears are just always turning.
That's a good question here from Jay. In redraft, Henry over Chase Brown. So in half PPR, most certainly Henry over Chase Brown. But let's make this PPR, which makes it a little closer. Oh, as currently constructed, I think I want you answer first because I don't know. This is tough. Like it's silly to not take Derrick Henry.
I'm going Henry.
Even in full PPR, just Derrick Henry.
I think it's silly not to take Derrick Henry. He's still that guy. Has not shown that he's not that guy. I will take him until he shows me that he's not that guy. In that year that, he does finally fall off, I will, be like, okay, he finally fall off. But as of right now, he's not even close, I don't think.
Last year's Derrick Henry film was just like 2022 Derrick Henry. There's no difference. It wasn't his fault. He just wasn't on the field enough.
Yep.
And the offense went to shit. But let's think about this. Like towards the end of the season, that game against the Packers. Remember the game against the Packers with that was Malik Willis versus Tyler Huntley. That was the 3-touchdown game. 3 touchdowns, 200 yards.
3 touchdowns, 200 yards. Yeah, I mean it was.
That was week 15,
Henry.
guys. Week 16. So he hasn't fallen off at all. Is it crazy to say that Chase Brown in PPR has more upside? Just because Derrick Henry, he's never having more than 16 catches. Like he needs to have 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns to have that top 5 finish, just based on how fantasy works. Where Chase Brown can get there with 70 catches and 12 touchdowns.
I mean, it's possible. That is a way to think of it. But I just think Derrick Henry makes up for that in the touchdowns that he gets because he's way better at the goal line, way better just in general rushing the ball, and I think that's where he's going to make up for it. I understand it's easier for Chase Brown to just easily catch a ball and really go down, but I'm still taking Derrick Henry.
Where do you think Derrick Henry's ceiling is though in PPR? Like, is he at top 3 back ceiling? Like I said, it needs to be 16 touchdowns, 1,600 yards to have that top 3, just because he's not getting the points the other guys are getting. Like he's not getting those receptions. Yeah. So what is his ceiling? It's not number 1. We know it's not number 1. Bijan and Gibbs are in the league. Saquon is still in the league. Like there's still guys that could. Devin A-Chain could have 100 catches. Like it can't be. It's not top 3.
In PPR, it's at his ceiling max. I think is 5th, just because you have to go. The top 2 guys, right? Throw CMC in there. He's going to catch the ball 100 times, 120 times a year, especially in PPR.
Didn't even mention CMC.
Yeah, I mean, you were mentioning guys that catch the ball. I'm like, yeah, CMC is going to be in there. A-Chan, especially, could catch 100+ target or have 100+ receptions. So I think at the very worst, or at the very, very best, is RB5.
But do you see the world that Chase Brown could now, if they don't bring anyone in, he's not losing goal line carries, he could be number 3, just on the fact that he's tied to also an elite offense, but it could be 70, 80 catches. And like he does score touchdowns. So it's like he just needs 12 or 14 touchdowns to be top 3 if he has 70 catches, right? Derrick Henry's just he needs 22 touchdowns, which again could happen. Like it seems great, but he's also old. Like I don't think he's decrepit. I don't think he's lost a step, but father time also comes for everyone. So I don't think it's happening, but I could see people being a little bit weary of it, but he is going ahead of Chase Brown, I guess to end this conversation. He is going 3 or 4 picks ahead of Chase Brown in PPR already.
It's honestly, it's interesting. I didn't think it was 3 or 4 picks ahead. I thought they would be kind of neck and neck, a little more tighter, or even Chase Brown being ahead. But
Chase Brown, I'm also going to underdog, which is half PPR, so maybe that changes it. But like Chase Brown's usually like pick 23, 22, sometimes 24, and Derrick Henry is usually that middle of the second round, like pick 18, 19, which makes sense. Like you want those spike weeks and you want 3 touchdown games. So. All right. We can save tight ends or free agents for another week, Chaz, since we did 2 hours. And great show as always. Before I get out of here, I do want to show Helen Hunt. Just like I got to do that every single show. I'm contractually out. Let's show Tiger Woods first. Masters time. There's Tiger playing in the Masters. Hey, Tiger. And then there's Helen
playing in the Masters.
Before I get out of here, I want to shout out to the Patreon bros. Appreciate everybody here for contributing to the channel, keeping the channel going, especially the Fanatics. Can't wait for Dynasty with y'all. Join the community, boys.
Sure.
I know it's early in the season, but get in now. The Discord's popping as always. We have access to the Discord, which is the place to be. Community fantasy leagues, guys. If you can't get in the Dynasty, there is still 2 spots available. We would make it up to 14 if someone wants to get in. Got to sign up for the Patreon, get in the Discord first. But we're gonna have 5 or 6 redraft leagues for you guys in September and August. So play against us, play against Chaz and Nico and Storey and Ray and Mouth and all the crew, as well as the rest of the community. Guest appearances on the show. We like to have fans on the show talking football and talking Tiger Woods DUI stuff with us. Free merchandise giveaways. We have hats. We have shirts giving away every single month, as well as access to the bets. I know NFL season is not right around the corner yet, but we're going to have about 10 NFL draft bets, future bets with me and Storey. I think we went 7-3 last year, so we do pretty well on those. Storey is the college football guy. But looking ahead to the NFL, 96-58 boys last year, 205 and 125 all time. Even odds, player props here. So you're going to be, making more money than you spend if you get in there, because every year we fucking dominate. And I want to give you guys a little teaser. How about this one? Plus 850 for 2 tight ends to go in the first round. A bet I have already placed, only $10, but plus 850 for 2 tight ends to go in the first round. Sadiq is most certainly going in the first round. We just need one other tight end to sneak in there. Someone getting frisky. Maybe it is the Dolphins at pick 30. Maybe they take wide receiver in the first round. They take a tight end in the second round. Someone else trades up to get Stowers or Max Clare or Sam Roush, which is a Mouse guy. You never know. It could happen. Plus 850. That should not be plus 850, Chaz, because no one thought Colson Loveland was going ahead of Tyler Warren last year.
Nobody thought that. I mean, we shocked when we heard Loveland at our pick, and then especially with him going a couple picks later to the Colts, it was like, wow, we were all in shock.
So plus 850, I feel like is great odds. So hop on that one, but we're gonna have 10 even odds bets in terms of we'll say Carnell Tate over or under 7.5 his draft position, bets like that. We went 7-3 last year. Those are all minus 110, minus 120. So we're gonna start posting those as they pop up. More stuff's getting released every single day in terms of the betting options for the NFL draft. But we're gonna have at least 10 of those fuckers for you, and if you'll make your money for the year on that one if you throw $50 on each, because we will win, because we know ball. And I don't have that anymore, Mouth. I had to delete that to make room for our tight ends. These guys, all these graphics I have here. There's Kenny and Sadiq. I had to make room for that. So Mouth's has some banger teams. I got him addicted to Underdog, and he's already done. I think he's done more than I have already, and I think I've already put I'm already $70 in, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the fact that it's April 9th and I'm gonna be doing these literally every night, the rest of the off season and then into the draft season. So looking forward to just more football talk. Chaz, you're the man. Appreciate you, Dynasty Diner, my dude. And we have 2 weeks of the NFL draft, and then we have then it starts kicking off here. We actually know. We're kind of talking more hypotheticals on a lot of these guys, especially for Dynasty. But once the draft's over, it's pretty much set in stone, outside of the stupid beat reports and depth chart shit. But that stuff we don't listen to anyway.
That's all bogus. Yeah, that's all bogus. It's hope.
We know talent.
Focus,
we know ball.
focus.
Mouth knows ball. One last shout out, Downtown Sports Boys. Mouth, when's the episode dropping? Let me know before I log off here so I can tell the peeps. 23 platforms, as well as a new YouTube channel. Go give them a sub, give them a listen. We would appreciate that. Helen would definitely appreciate that. Helen's like, yes, please, twist
What's
that.
up, Helen?
You love Helen. Would you fuck Helen Hunt? I think I've asked you this before.
Is she paying me? She paying me?
Paying you? Money. She's Helen Hunt. She's Helen Hunt. She don't have to pay you. What's she gonna pay you for? She could fuck anyone. She's Helen Hunt. People that like Twister, or Castaway. She's been in a bunch of good movies. Ain't paying you.
She'd have to pay me.
Damn. You wouldn't want I would do it. No, I can't because I'm married. But If I wasn't, it would be just based on the fact I could tell people I fucked Helen Hunt. You know, I don't tell them the year I fucked her. I could be like, it was 1998. I was 10. That'd be weird, but you know what I mean? Like, I could say it was 2012 and she was 52, you know? Just say it.
I guess.
Tell the people the real answer. You would definitely bang her.
She's rich, so you could get a bag.
You could just have her be what are you gonna get the bag for? You're gonna fucking leverage your position? Say, what are you gonna do? Like, you're not a man whore, dude. Like, you're not a male prostitute, are you? Are you saying you're a male prostitute on live TV?
No.
Yeah, you just said it. You said it, man. So Chaz said it. He's a man whore.
We got to definitely write a song about how we do not diddle kids. Do not diddle kids. It's no good diddling kids.
There is no quicker way for people to think that you are diddling kids than by writing a song about.
Yep, Chaz, a male prostitute.
I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
All right, buddy. I'll get you out of here. You have some studying. You're out. You're done in school. You're done with college in what, a month and a half? Month?
It's less than a month. Actually, a month from today, May 9th, I will be walking across the stage.
And Chaz will be out in the world, you know, like floating around like the feather.
I'll be a wandering feather. Chuck. That's what I call it.
Yeah, you'll do great. You'll do great, Chaz. You'll do great. And you know what? I'll always hire you on this show. And unfortunately, I can't pay you. But you know what? It's a nice internship.
It's a nice internship. Actually, it's something I can put on the resume.
All right, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody in the chat. Thank you for the supers. Thank you, Mouth. You're the man. Thank you, Chaz, for coming on. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing some live best ball drafts. You want to tune into that, 10 p.m. Central. Draft a team or two and chat with all you fine folks. Love your life. Stay positive and respect each other. I'm out of here.
I brought a little bottle of spermicidal lube, too.
And one little bottle of spermicidal lube?
Yeah, one little bottle.
You just seem like a good dude. I thought I'd see if you wanted to grab a beer, that's all. I'm glad you called. We get home safe, Pistol.
You got it, Jobin.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing.
Oh, what'd you say?
I don't know. You nicknamed me Pistol, and I just called you Jobin. It means nothing. I'm drunk. I'm gonna call a cab.
All right, man. You have my number, yeah?
I got you stored in my iPhone.